for coming all the way to Miri, Sarawak, and welcome. Right now, we will start our program by welcoming speech by Councillor Karambe. Right, then following we will start our forum after that. Right. So once again, let us invite Councillor Karambe to come on the stage.
Very good afternoon, dear friends. Very warm welcome to Yang Berhormat Datuk Sebastian Ting, our State Assemblyman for PSAO, and also, very importantly, the initiator and moderator for this forum. Please give him a round of applause. Also, Yang Berhormat Datuk Idris Buang, our State Assemblyman for Muara Kuan. Next, we have Yang Berbahagia Datuk Teng. Please give a round of applause as well. Next, we have Mr. Zainal Ajamain, frequent visitor to Miri. Make him a Sarawakian. And we have Ms. Lina Soo. Please welcome Ms. Lina Soo as well. Thank you very much to all of you for taking your time to join us as mentioned by our MC on a Sunday afternoon. And I also like to welcome all our distinguished guests, our councillors, our community leaders. But very importantly, we have you here, all of you, who have turned up to listen to this very important forum. It's all about our future, and that's why it's titled as Sarawak, Our Future. So we hope you can take home some very important points and action them in your own way. And we also like to thank the media for covering this event, this forum. Once before I step down here, I'd like to thank all the members of the SUPP Miri PSAO Working Committee members for putting in a lot of time and effort to get this forum going. Please give them a round of applause. And with that, thank you very much. God bless. For the next part, I'd like to then individually invite Yang Berhormat Datuk Idris to come up, and Yang Berbahagia Datuk Teng, please take your seat. Mr. Zainal Ajamain and Ms. Lina Soo. We also have, of course, very importantly, our moderator Yang Berhormat Datuk Sebastian Ting. I'd like to hand back the forum to our MC, Leslie. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Councillor Karambe, for the welcoming speech. Now, before we start our forum, I would like to request, everyone to silence your phone, all right, so that everyone can enjoy the forum, okay. And also, if you would like to go to the toilet, you are welcome. There's one door here, or you can go straight out. All right. In case of any emergency, okay. So please go behind there or this door. All right. So without further ado, let us welcome Datuk Sebastian Ting, right, to do his opening remarks on this. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Leslie. Councillor Karambe, the organizing chairman for today's function, the forum. The two topics that we are going to discuss will be on MA63 and Oil Mining Ordinance 1958 as amended 2018. Today we are very fortunate for the first time that we invited and gathered our panel speakers here. One, Encik Zainal Ajamain. He has been with us for a long time. Round of applause to him. He is not from Sarawak, but he comes here so often. And only September the 1st, we had one session also with him, talking about MA63. Now with him we had done in Kuching, Siu, Bintulu. But today we are fortunate again, like I said, Yang Berhormat, Datuk Idris. He used to be the political secretary, chief political secretary to the chief minister then. And now he's a YB from Moran Tuan, a lawyer by training. And of course, we have Datuk David Teng, also a former YB, a former assistant minister, and very senior party member in SUPP, Datuk David. And also very fortunate, very happy and grateful that Miss Lina Soo can join us today. We all know her for the articles she wrote, very much in favor also on MA63 and OMO. All four of them has many years of experience. And indeed, today with them here, to share their thoughts, their views on Malaysia Agreement 1963 and the oil mining ordinance as amended this year in July during sitting. These are the two important things for Sarawak. How Malaysia was formed way back in 1963, the history part, what were the terms then our founding leaders agree upon, whether or not all these have been eroded. Then, of course, the OMO, petroleum. We all know, in Miri especially, oil and gas has been with us since 1910, the first oil well, 100 over years ago, 108 years. A lot of money has been taken out from here. People always ask two questions. For so many years, since the formation of Malaysia, 1963, we are talking about 55 years. And if we are talking about the formation, at that time, the Barisan Nasional was formed in 1st January 1973. That was 45 years. Why leaders then at that time did not say anything? Why so quiet? That had happened before. And of course, I think all of us here will know, at that time, ISA was around. Internal Security Act. Many people had gone to jail. Or in there, without trial. Nobody would dare to say anything on this MA63, being so sensitive. Of course, with the abolition of emergency ordinance in the year 2011, now we are more open, we can say. Things we know, if we don't talk about it, years later, people will ask again, hey, during that time, why didn't you talk about it? Why only then? So it is now for us, for all of you here, in the basic part of, we are all Sarawakians. I always say, I'm a Sarawakian, and I speak for Sarawak, and I fight for Sarawak rights. That's important, and why you are here. And I see friends from Malayan, my good friends also, they are here. Of course, they are here also to share, to learn what formation of Malaysia in the year 1963. I would not want to go into that. I will leave all our four panel speakers. Each panel speaker will have half an hour, up to half an hour for them to speak. Then, after they all have done the speeches, will be open for question and answer. And I really say thank you so much for your coming here. Like our MC and organizing chairman said, today is Sunday. And this is the first time we have this capacity. For many times we arrange it's only 100 plus. So when I mentioned to the speakers, I said, probably today, I'm looking about to welcome 150 people. But then it's overcrowded. We have 200 people. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yes, community leaders, yeah, and also we have our former mayor, Datuk Lawrence Lai, also with us here. Thank you for coming. I also just now I saw the ex-YB for Pujut, Mr. Fong Bauter. Are you sitting inside here or you outside? He's at the back. Yeah, thank you for coming. We are all here. We don't talk about politics. We talk about what is for Sarawak, for ourselves, for our children, our younger generation. The more we talk about it, then the more familiar we are. Terms on formation of Malaysia. And the next important thing is the oil and gas. What in store for us? With these few words, I would like to invite the first speaker for this afternoon. Please welcome Yang Berbahagia Datuk David Teng. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, well to you. Can I have the slide? Now, let's go straight to the point. Future will be decided by what we decide today. What we are in here today has been decided a long time ago by our previous leaders. So today, I would like you to bring down, in very concise and summary form, the story of Sarawak. It's a long and winding road. Now, we try to revisit the past. That's my part one. Then we're trying to examine the challenges, the current positions. Number three, our future remedy action. People need to know the past, which determine the future, the present. So what are we in now with all the frustrations? So what do we look for in our actions? Now, I list down, I don't think you can read it, the events, political events from 1941, White Raja's time, right up to 2018. There are 25 critical events that create significant changes to the fate of Sarawak. Out of these 25, there are too many. I will only point on 10 very critical and essential implications and decisions. Now, in year 1961, when Tunku Abdul Rahman initiated the concept of Malaysia, 1961, he insisted that the merger of Singapore and Malaya must include Borneo territories. Why? You got to know the motive, agenda that happened many 55 years ago. That become the underlying factors of what we become today. The underlying motive or agenda of the five-party. United Kingdom wanted to retain its military presence and economic interest. So they like to have a bigger country like Malaysia to take care of all its former colony. Federation of Malaya, what do they want? They want to have a bigger territory, correct? And the rich natural resources from Borneo. What is Singapore looking for? Singapore is looking for bigger hinterland because they are most industrialized at that stage of time. So where are we? Sarawak, North Borneo. At the time, the Cobalt Commission that carried out the survey agreed that we were politically immature, lack of political will, so we just becoming pawns. Pawns. Now that was the background. That were the motive. Don't look into intention, okay? Intention is official, is open. We have to re-examine, revisit, because those motives determine what actually we are in today. So, the Cobalt Commission carried out its report, study, have the reports done. So it posts a few findings. That is very important. And we need to remind the generation of today whether those findings were biased or truthful. Please, re-examine. Number one, he said, Cobalt Commission said, 2/3 of Sarawakians support Malaysia with safeguards provided. 1/3 wanted to have a referendum on independence. Let Sarawakian people vote whether we were independent, whether we will form the greater Malaysia. Right? So the word referendum appeared 55 years ago. So don't underrate our forefathers. It is stated in the Cobalt Commission for record purposes. There was a complete resolution. The Dayak leaders requested that can Malaysia have a trial period? You know what I mean, trial period? After a few years, 5 years, 10 years, can we consider to get out? Of course, that proposal was not accepted. A small town like Binatang, you know Binatang? A small town called Binatang, now called Bintang or Maradong. A whole community represented by Binatang District Council then told Tunku Rahman, I was a young boy at that time. My late father was the chairman of the council. Oh, they have a hoo-ha meeting in my house. They are mostly small-time people from villages. They also tell Tunku Rahman, can we have a trial period of Malaysia? All this has been turned down, of course. Right? Turned down. But I say this in order to remind generation of today, what we are doing now are exactly what our forefathers 55 years ago had thought of doing. So the problems, the concern still persists. Right? After that, we move down to the working out the detail for providing the safeguards. We need to know the Cobalt Commission report. For the purpose of legal argument, for the purpose of negotiating with federal government. Next important document is IGC reports, Intergovernment Committee, which is an official legal document, which laid down all the so-called safeguards. And these safeguards were subsequently incorporated in MA 1963. And finally, it is enshrined in the Federal Constitution. The key words here is not autonomy. I wish to correct. The key words that had appeared throughout this session are safeguards. Safeguards for Sarawak on many, many issues. Then, all these safeguards, after 55 years, we see what has been the erosion. Sebastian said that. So what is the current positions? Now there are so many issues, so I will just highlight a few very important challenges that need to be corrected. Now, oil is only one of the consequential issues. We got to hit the nail on its head. What are the root cause? Okay? Now, the issue here, I bring up a few major challenges. Number one, what is the status of MA63? Malaysia is not or was not formed through secession, was not formed by annexion. It was formed by treaty, by agreements. So, the MA63 become the supreme document, right? Because Malaysia was established through agreements. Now, what has happened to this agreement? What has happened to the safeguards? What have been the challenges? What have been the changes? This we need to know so that we can address the issue specifically. No point to have a general talk. Specific, one by one. And what is our claim? What is our basis? So the status of MA63 is supreme. Any interpretation of our constitution must be referred to MA63, to IGC report, even to Cobalt commissions, because that shows the intention. So we have to regard this document as supreme. Even more supreme than constitution, because constitution is founded according to the agreements. Next is the date of the federation, the birth date of the Federation of Malaysia. Many of us may have thought that it's just a date. The Federation, the Constitution of Malaysia, unfortunately, it was drafted based on Federation of Malaya as the blueprint. So a lot of provision that happened in Malaya Constitution are copied by and incorporated into the Federation of Malaysia. That is why in our Constitution, the important section called interpretation, section 160. This interpretation clauses, you find the word Merdeka Day. The Merdeka Day was defined as 1957, August 31. Right? The word Malaysia Day was not included under the interpretation. It appears somewhere else. It's not. The most important date of the formation of Malaysia was never defined. was not clearly stated under the interpretation. This is the basis of our birthday. It must be stated, amended, included, to signify the facts that Malaysia was actually formed in 1963, 16th of September. It's very significant here. It tells our partnership position, right? It's the implication is a partnership recognition. The third challenge, of course, is the very favorite subject now called the relegation of status of Sarawak. Koba Commission recognized that Malaysia must be an association of partners. And it stated that it must not be a takeover. It appears in the records here, 1976, amendment to Article 1(2). The 4 founding regions of or territory where Sarawak and North Borneo Sabah were 2 of them has been described, relegated into the 2 states of the 13 states. 1976. Now let us examine ourselves. When we point fingers against others, Sarawakians need to know what happened to ourselves. Only then we will be taking a very truthful and objective approach to address this question. 1976, parliamentary record Hansard shows that only 4 members of parliament have objected to such amendment. Ironically, these 4 MP, you know where did they come from? They come from Malaya. I mean, these are facts. I'm not putting blame. I'm just telling that when Sarawakians wanted to safeguard our own interests, our own leaders, our own people better stand out and do it. Correct? I'm not putting blames, but this is the facts. The facts should serve as a lesson. There is a very famous, very ironical quotation about history. It says, there is only one lesson that we learn from history. That is, we never learn from history. Right? History repeats itself. And we don't want to see that repeat again. Right? So it's time to remind ourselves with our past performance. It's not to seek blame. It's no use. Futile. But we need to know. We want the new generation to know. We have to look at ourselves, prepare ourselves. Don't simply conveniently blame other people. So, what should be the action? Very simple. Mahathir, our Prime Minister, has just said it in Sabah. They want to revert our position back to the original. Okay? So, Member of Parliament from Sarawak and Sabah, take this golden opportunity, initiate the motion in Parliament, table a constitution amendment. I tell you, it will be passed. Even though the Harapan government now don't have 2/3, it will be, this motion, I believe, will be passed. You know why? Harapan support it. The 56 member, the Sarawakian, Sarawak have to support it, the MP from the 2 states. Other party from Malaya don't want to be seen to be against Sarawak interest or Sabah interest. So, I think they will support it. This is the golden window If we don't do it now in the coming parliament election, I'm a very practical man. I've been in politics. It's good to be there because you know all the tricks, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So now I come out from the box. So I need have to be bad, ugly. I can be good. Okay? So do it. Mother cannot go back to his words. This is the God-sent opportunity. If we don't do it now, now, come on, another erosion, another problems. Use of English language for official purposes. Sarawak, I don't know Sabah, Sarawak has the right to continue using English language constitutionally under the Constitution for official purposes. It's very clear. All the documents, legal documents, legislation, very clear. So you don't have to worry. That has been. Of course, some people will talk otherwise. The other one is the use of English language as a medium of education. Right? The IGC reports, the agreement says that Sarawak will be allowed to continue the English to be used as a medium of instruction for 10 years after Malaysia Day. 10 years. And thereafter, after 10 years, it's up to Sarawak government to decide. In any way, we Sarawak government decide to replace English with the national education system. Right? And this has to be put clear. I don't simply hantam further sometimes. Alright? I am not pro further, but what is fact is fact. Don't you think we should be honest about it? Yeah. Political movement? Now, OMO, Oil Mining Ordinance, the oil resources. Oil has never been a key issue in the past because oil prices are very low. Now it becomes so important. Alright, we look at this oil resources ownership. Again, let us be very truthful about this. You want to hear the truth? Or you want just to hear political talk? Now which one you prefer? Okay. Number one. The oil resources issue, there are two issues here. One is very important. One is principal issue. One is secondary issue. The principal issue is ownership. Is this child yours or mine? Correct? Ownership, number one. That is the key issue. Right. Sarawak has its own claim. I don't want to go into the legal. No point. Too long. Sarawak believe we have the claim. Legally, whatever it is. Further also say they have the claim. Sarawak say we have the claim under the constitution, the state lease. We have the claim under the Sarawak boundary, 12 nautical mile. We have the claim by saying that the Territorial Sea Act 2012 was illegal, not valid. We have the claim, we say that PDA, Petroleum Development Act 1974 was not applicable to us. So. further say no. We have the PDA, 1974, and on top of that, we have signed tri-party agreement, federal government, state government, and the Petronas. It was signed in the year 1976 by the state government, by the federal government, by the Petronas. Oh, look here, we have the agreement now. The agreement says that our sharing is 5590, 5%, 5%, and 90%. So they believe they have the claim. So both sides has been sometime quarreling over it for over how many years? Since 1974 up to today. How many years? All these 44 years of talking, negotiating, politicking, does it yield any result? No. Why? The question is, why no result? Is it purely the fault of federal government? Or is it purely the fault of state government? Or really is the joint fault of the two governments? We don't know. So, it's my personal view. A man who has no more in politics, my personal view. I am just one of you. Since both parties claim that they have every valid political, legal rights, so there has been a school of thought. 50 years of negotiation, or 45 years of negotiation doesn't yield anything at all. Especially now the two governments are controlled by two different political groups. There has been a new thinking from the people. Why don't just go to the court? Have all the facts, and all the legal documents, and all the legislation. Let us settle once for all. It's yours or it's mine. Put this matter, settle once for all. If it's yours, I'll talk to you. If it's mine, you better talk to me. Don't you think so? Yeah. There must be a decision. The worst is there is no decision. And then people keep on playing politics. Right? So, I mean, this is only my little suggestions. Negotiation has failed. Political play cannot come in anymore. It must be a final decisions. If we believe that we have the right. So what's the problem with you for holding back? Tell me. Okay, right? So I want to. The last one is, are there S4S people here? They are. Question of referendum sound very familiar? Yes. The position of Sarawak interest, the special position of Sarawak interest, the constitutional position of Sarawak interest, the safeguards, all these can go if Parliament has two-thirds majority. If State Cabinet agree, you can make amendment to all these special positions under Section 161E, bracket 2, which is most critical in terms of Sarawak interest. No amendment to all these special rights can take place without two-thirds majority and without State Cabinet's consent. Two. There are two firewalls here. Takut fire coming. One firewall, second firewall. Now in the past, the second firewall, the consent from the state, may still be very effective. I think Sarawak government must take care of Sarawak interests. Otherwise, they will lose the state government next election. So, riot down here, you and me. Why don't we have a third firewall? To help the state government, right? To help the state government. In other words, any change to all these special rights, you must get the consent of Sarawak people by way of referendum. That will help our state government. Right? State government can say, look here, I can't do nothing because rakyat are behind my back. Banyak hati belakang. Saya tak tahan. Betul tak? Okay. So, I want to clarify here, don't misread me. Referendum, don't interpret that this is referendum for independence. Nah. Okay? No. I think we still have good future within Malaysia. It's just that Sarawak interest, make sure that it doesn't happen. Doesn't happen to in year 1976 where we lose our partnership status. Correct? We lose it because we are inactive, sit there, doing nothing. I don't know what happened to our resources. Is it because we are not strong enough? What is happening in 1976? Under the table? I don't know. Above the table? Yes, you and me can see. Please don't misread me. Under table doesn't mean money, okay?
Don't worry, we are behind.
Under table here means there are political interests. Political interests that determine. Alright? So, I think we need the third firewall. What had happened in the past many years will happen again. Really? Yeah. What bad thing happened will happen again. This is the law of Murphy. So we better have our third firewall. Alright. So to sum it up, can you see the relevancy? What? The history of Sarawak. Please don't say, this is a history. I'm not interested. History decide your fate. So read it. Have a handbook. Now it's you say something, I say something. Everybody get confused, which is very bad. When you get confused, there is no unity. There is no oneness. Know the past. Appreciate our previous leaders. Sometimes also blame our previous leaders. Number two, be aware of what is our current position and what makes our current position so lousy. Then, take action, no point. Talk like that. Forum is the first step towards action. Forum. Right. So with this, I don't have many years to live on. So are many of you.
Thank you.
So leaders of today, Sebastian, Idris, that has been my junior colleagues before. Leaders here, community from NGO, you have the duty. You have the duty to carry on, to make sure that thing doesn't repeat itself.
Thank you.
Don't fall into the same habit of never learn from history. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. David. Another round of applause, please, to Dr. David. Thank you. You will hear more afterwards when the question and answer. Next, I would like to invite Yang Berhormat Datuk Idris. Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Kepada Muslim, salam sejahtera, salam sama Sarawak lah. Now, we have heard the Bruce Lee of SUPP, they used to call him. Thank you, sir, for giving some good insights, yeah, at least a reminder for me. First, I agree with him that we should not just keep quiet about our rights. We should start an action. To me, even though I have what I call some difference, yeah, with the leadership in terms of what we should take, yeah, to move forward, but I believe we should start an action, actually, a legal action, to ask for a declaration from the courts, yeah, that our sovereign rights over our natural resources is our absolute right. We should start an action. Because, as you said, ding dong, the political way all over the years did not materialize much. That's why the erosion. Now, I would like to touch on OMO first, yeah, before I start. This OMO, Oil Mining Ordinance, 1958, it's just one dragon that was sleeping, that was dormant all over the years. Now it's coming up and has reflected itself in terms of petros and so on. I believe, even though there was no declaration by the court yet, yeah, it was started by Petronas last few months, yeah, but then an action in court, but then it was somehow abandoned, yeah, because the court says they didn't have the local standards and so on. But I believe Petros, as a now awakened giant, is telling the world, telling all our people in Malaysia, the federal government included, that Sarawak has an absolute right over its oil and gas and all other mineral resources. That OMO, as much as we have absolute right over our land under the land code, as much as we have our rights over our forests, we have our rights over our oil and gas. So, plus the fact that PDA, as we say, is very much debatable. In fact, to us, it's not just debatable, it's actually inapplicable to us. We should start an action, as I suggested, for a declaration to say PDA74 and all other related acts were not applicable to us, actually voidable, because it has not received any assent or consent of our state assembly. That's a clear fact, but none was taken, no step was taken to say that this were not applicable. That's why I say we must start something, the state must start something through the process of the court, ask for a declaration. Actually, this is the view of many. But then, can I explain why it was not taken thus far? Because our leadership believe to give the last chance, yeah, by way of diplomatic means. They are not taking the conflicting approach, but rather a concordance approach. Because they're, in terms of Tok Nan, for example, and also our President Chief Minister, they work together on this. They feel that we owe a lot also to the federal government. I just post that. Why? Because our survival thus far depends also on sacrifices from all over. When we joined the, Association of Partners arrangement and formed Malaysia together, we were facing a geopolitical, what do you call that, volcanic eruption all over, you know, yeah, with Indonesia, with communist insurgencies all over, yeah. We were actually deliberately subjugated, if you want to say, but subconsciously and naturally we were subjugated. We were at the mercy of whoever helped. So the federal government was actually entrusted with so many things, security and our safety and so on. Malaysia did not really take off nicely. As you know, the confrontation and so on and so on. So because of that, the suffering of the people and so on and so on has taught us that we must look up to federal government for whatever we need. I think that culture, which had, actually put us, yeah, the culture of being subjugated psychologically, yeah, put our leaders in such dilemma sometimes. And without knowing so much about oil and gas and the potential of that industry, I believe, because of the natural Sarawakian kind of humbleness and so on, politeness and so on, I believe that subjugation had taught us, yeah, to be further subjugated. That's why you found PDA and so on, not really challenged. And later on you found Article 1(2) of the Federal Constitution, where we were relegated to just mere 1 out of 14 without any change. Because we suffered so much. Yeah. Through confrontation, we suffered the poverty all over. It was ubiquitous. And people just look up to the federal government, I mean, for whatever it is, yeah, to continue with life. We were at the mercy of the federal government. But this is not the scenario now. As our ex-Yang Muhammad said, David Teng said, ISA was in place, yeah, and you have the Sedition Act, and so many other things. People just kept quiet. Now, like OMO, we were the sleeping giants, and we are awakened. I don't care now whether ISA is going to be revived or not. I'm going to speak to you today, not as a YB, okay, not as a lawyer, but like you, as a humble Sarawakian, ordinary Sarawakian. I would like to say my personal view too, that the federal government should now be serious enough to put our position in place. Well, if what Tun Mahathir said, we are now, yeah, looking to putting back the Article 1(2) in its pre-1976 position, whereby we were a territory, a wilayah, a region, rather than just a mere state within the federation. Yeah. I agree with Datuk Teng. We should start a motion in Parliament. If that is not good enough, we should start a motion or originating summons in the courts of law for another declaration that Article 1(2) was null and void, was unconstitutional. Why I say that? Because Malaysia Agreement and all the related IGC reports and so on, which were part and parcel of it, were also part and parcel of the Constitution itself, by virtue of Article 8, Annex A, and so on and so on. So, to do away with any of this is unconstitutional. And I believe these two kind of declaration should put us in proper perspective towards the future. And that would be better enhanced with a motion in Parliament. I agree with the strategy. Nobody would resist. Yeah. But I believe this is the stand of our leadership. Yang Berhormat Ketua Menteri too. But just that, he was giving that last breath for diplomacy to set. Because that's why I think we left the Barisan Nasional. That's why we formed our own GPs. Because the culture of being subjugated and our mind, looking up at federal with so much expectation of assistance and help, and we never questioned that. I think that was quite forgivable to me because of this subjugation, as I told you. But then it should not be done again because we are now independent from that. So that's why I think if we fail in the diplomatic channel, if we fail, I think our leadership will not just quiet. But we from within will pressure, will keep on pressure to pursue for these negotiations.
Thank you.
I will, inshallah, I will do that.
Inshallah.
But then, what if we are restored as equal partner, or better? What will happen? What will be the scenario? It all depends on what sincerity the federal government has on us. You see, if we are put into equal status, we should by now have at least 30% with Sabah, 30% of parliamentary seats. Yeah? Out of 222, one-third of it will be 66, 67. Thank you, Datuk Sebastian, and Sarawak and Sabah should share the one-third. But right now we have only how many? 56. We are short of 11. So, please, Tun M, wherever you are in PH, whatever it is, make sure that we have another 11 seats in the next coming parliamentary election. We share some. So what does equality mean to? Apart from that, parliamentary seats kind of issue. We need better treatment. In education, we should open up what I call that equitable quota for Sarawak and Sabahans. We should have better special grants annually, because it is the duty of the federal government, many things. But look at our schools. So many are dilapidated. Some even, teachers and students died in the fire and so on, due to the kind of situation that we are facing. For example,
Negligence.
Whatever it is, you see, we want better treatment. We want better treatment in the civil service. We don't want some kind of indirect colonialization of Sabah and Sarawak through position being held by people from the other side of the Chinese Sea. We want to see Sarawakian rise up and hold strong position. Because that is those are the safeguards that are supposed to be there. If you look at the handset, I just look at it the last minutes, the last 2 days, trying to find out and recall my history. If you look at the handset, which were handset entries in UK Parliament, where Lord Lansdowne and even Lord Cobble himself talked. They're talking about we are an association of partners, combining our common interests but retaining our own individualities. These are the safeguards. Because they are now more or less entrenched in our constitution, either directly or by reference. Tuan Zainal, correct, no? As I said, Article 8, Annex A, and so on and so on. It is unconstitutional if any of these safeguards are to be ignored. Now, when I say this, and when I say what was said, yeah, that there must be adequate safeguards in the best interest of the border states, because that was the consideration of and the sacrifice, yeah, that we put up in order to be part of the formation. Otherwise, there was no Malaysia, as we call it, as Tuan Zainal used to say in his videos. Now, to be equal partners, as Lord Lonsdale say, real partnership, use the word real partnership. The word real partnership could also mean equitable partnership. And equal partnership is part of that equitable partnership. But most definitely, it is not just illusionary partnership. Illusionary partnership. You know when? You cannot just say, and well, we are equal partners, but we take it. It must be really translated into action. Translated through policies, as well as implementation of policies, and down the line. As I said, I touch on education, I touch on civil services now. But there are other things too. Now you look at our leaders. Well, I hope the GPS will still retain the state government, because I'm in it as an interested party. But if it is not, I would like to say that, yeah, our chief minister, whoever they come from GPS or other parties, whatever it is, if they go to Semenanjung, protocol-wise they'll look down. They're just part of one of those chief minister and chief minister of the Malayan states. But then they are lesser in terms of significance to the minister of what do you call it? Of the federal.
We pay the price for being humble.
Yeah, I believe so. I agree with it. No debate about it. But personally, on my to my view, even if it is whoever it is, become a change, this irrespective party. As I said, and now I talk to you, not as assemblyman, not as party member, whatever, as a structure. Now, our leader, like a chief minister, or minister from here, we have a system, we call it cabinet system. In Semenanjung, they use not the cabinet system, but an exco system. But ours is more model from the Westminster kind of cabinet system. If you go over to Semenanjung, as I said now, what they call, they're treated as one of the 14. But I would like to say, this is the time that we should give our leader, whoever it is, representing us, because he holds the mandate of South. He's the fountain of solidarity in our state. At least we should be accorded, our chief minister should be accorded treatment of a deputy prime minister. Whether it's Abang Jo, whether it's Barubian, whether it's Sebastian Ting, or Chong Sian Jan, whoever becomes the minister. But not me, definitely, because I don't have that ambition. But then, that not because of him, or there, requiring it, no. But because that is the reflection of respect on Sarawak itself. As an equal partner. Correct or not? Slowly, you can see subconsciously all this, what do you call, respect as a Now, OMO, as Awakened Dragon, has claimed the 12 nautical miles to be part of Sarawak land. Yeah? And anybody who wants to gali minyak ke, whatever the troca minyak or whatever it is, must get a licensing right from Sarawak. That's why this mining OMO was amended 2018, this time. Then, it is good to see that there is some inroad between Petronas and Petros now. They are looking up, Petronas looking up at us as a licensing authority. It's one big step for us. But as I said, and I agree with that, that can be taken away, even just by a mere strike of an executive decision, administrative decision. We need a proper, strong, valid, sealed judgment, as well as a pass motion that being possible, in order to have a very strong foothold for our generation to come, to have without any ambiguity at all. Now, what do I want to say again? There's so many other things, that I want to say, but I want to give chance to the others also. Maybe I have a second round if I answer some questions. Because I know Tuan Zainal will talk about, what are the things that we may have left behind, But I'm just touching on this now without losing my chance to say it. So, how many minutes do I have? 8 minutes. 8 minutes is quite a long time. Now, with the federal government, like PH, GPS more or less extended the olive stock of leaves to them. Not that we are happy or agreeing with everything that they're saying or doing, but just because that we want to think, this is how it is from the inside, I'm telling you. Maybe Datuk Sept can tell you also. Because we want to protect the rights of Sarawakians to have the chance, to give this diplomatic channel, to have all our rights in place. We still have a lot of things to consider, not just politics. So we are not talking about politics. This time I'm talking about it as a member of Ting. That's why you can see, not that we also abandon all this history about Najib helping us a lot. Najib has helped a lot, or whatever he did. 1MDB, GST, whatever, has nothing to do with us. We have nothing to do with it. Nothing to do with us. 1MDB has nothing to do with us. Now let's be fair. We have nothing to do with that. That's why when we look up at the federal government, we look up for the sake of Sarawak. Sake of Sarawak interest.
Long live the voters of Sarawak.
Yeah. Whatever it is, we put aside political differences, whatever. The thing is, the interest of Sarawakians is not just confined to our resources. But whatever it is, we talk about Petronas and so on and so on. We, in PBB, especially, YB Dennis is here, Now, we share some very deep view about getting on Petronas to account to us. From the day they started, they should account to Sarawak. Every barrel of oil they suck from our land and our sea, and for every breath of the gas, they took out. We can only do this if we go to court and ask for that right for accounts, and you call it an equitable right of tracing those accounts. But has Petronas given us any reports, accounts, audits? None. From day one. Day one. The giant has awakened. Forget about the rest. The giant now has awakened. I may be arrested, maybe under new law. I don't know. I don't care. I don't care. Let them arrest me. But I want to say this. I want to say this. For every drop of oil, for every breath of the gas, Petronas must account to Sarawak. Because our sovereign right to the oil and gas is undeniable, can't be taken away. It's our right. I want to quote the Chief Minister. He said it officially, he said it privately. Hak Sarawak, our right, Sarawak right. If you take it away, it's a sin. A dosa.
Get it back now!
We'll do it. We'll do it. We'll do it.
Immediately! We want to see you in PDA73 State Department.
Oh, wherever you are, please don't shout. We're still Sarawak here. Now, this is what I'm saying. Now, to you. Yeah, it's recorded. Is it recorded for TV? And I could be arrested by it.
No. You have 2 minutes now.
Anyway, for every drop, I seek, this is my personal view anyway, but I seek all of us actually to be behind this. Petronas must account for every drop. How we do it, that is another level. But we must have that account.
We, the voters, support you all the way.
Thank you. Because if they don't, it's a sin. That's what our Chief Minister said. Okay?
YB, with you.
Hold on. You can ask under question time.
Yeah.
But as I said just now, we sing and swim together. The referendum, if you like it, not to thank. I feel if it's amenable to everybody, we should go for it. Yeah, we should go for the referendum.
Thank you, Datuk.
Okay. So with that, I hope we can get more revenue, yeah, from Petros and so on. With this, every account of it, maybe we get areas in trillions. We don't know. Trillions of US dollars. It's good for our children, for their scholarship, for education, for more schools, better healthcare, better hospitals, roads, and so on and so on. And not just struggling like now for water and electricity even. So we have to do it. Okay? Cheers, everybody. Bye-bye.
Yeah, thank you very much, Datuk Idris Buang, and thank you so much, my friends. Yeah. Now, Zainal has gone out to the washroom. If anyone would like to go, you go and come back in 5 minutes. We go on for the next 2 speakers. Yeah, thank you. And while I'm still on the phone, if I may request, as we move on, yeah, let the speaker speak, and then later partner. You will have a question and answer. Yeah, okay? Thank you, Laha. Thank you. 5 minutes break. Yeah, thank you. My dear friends, we have 1 minute. We are about to start. Thank you. While we are visited, I would like here to acknowledge also Yang Berama Dennis who came in just now. And among ourselves, we have the one resident of Miri. Many of you may not know, we have the first lady here, resident in Miri. Can I ask you to be upstanding, one resident? Be upstanding. Are you here? No? Oh, okay, thank you. But then, Council Secretary is here. Council Secretary is here. Oh, thank you. And my dear friends, we are about to start. Our third speaker for the day. She was the one who contacted me, asking whether or not I would like to do one on MA63 and OMO. All these forum that we had done before with Janel was on MA63, but we never touch on OMO, because OMO was only amended in July 2018. Let us welcome Miss Lina Soo. She was the one who contacted me. Thank you, Lina.
Good afternoon, YB Datuk Sebastian Ting, YB Datuk Idris Buang, Datuk Idris, and Datuk David Teng, and Zainal, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure here this afternoon in Miri Old Town to be speaking on oil. And I'd like to pause here for 3 minutes for a video. Crystal, please.
I'm trying to hold my breath, let it stay this way. Can't let this moment end. You set off a dream, getting louder Will you share this with me? 'Cause darling, without you, all the shine of thousand spotlights, all the stars we steal from the night sky will never be enough, never be enough. Time alone is still too little. These hands could hold the world, but it'll never be enough, never be enough for me. Never, 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 never for me, for me.
I hope you enjoyed that song as much as I enjoyed writing up the script. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll speak on oil first because every minute delay is an economic loss to Sarawak. As you've seen just now, okay, Sarawak produces on average 200 million ringgit value of oil. That's daily, every day. And every single day, gas production is 160 million. Yeah? Right. And that's every day. And what is our population? 2.8 million Sarawakians. So, if we divide this by every Sarawakian, yeah? Yes! Okay. Sarawak has internal sovereignty, which is called dominion, okay? Which means legal ownership, economic and property rights over our oil and gas and other minerals in our continental shelf as a coastal state. Okay. This sovereignty of Sarawak, based on our state law, is always been protected under the Malaysia Agreement 1963, Intergovernmental Report, Customary International Law, Public International Law, UNCLOS, which is a UN Convention on the Law of the Sea 1982, and our protective municipal laws. That means our laws and ordinances. What the federal government has, okay, is imperium, which is sovereignty based on international law in the context of political rights, jurisdiction, and administration when it deals with other nations. But the federal government does not own Sarawak's petroleum, onshore, offshore, nor possess economic rights and neither should it exercise compulsory acquisition of oil and gas in the continental shelf of the coastal state of Sarawak under our state list. So Sarawak is a component state of the Federation of Malaysia with special protections, special provisions under the MA63 and Federal Constitution, which are not available to the states of Malaya. Okay, which was formed in 1957. Okay, we are not part of the Federation of Malaya, formed by the Federation of Malaya Agreement 1948. Sarawak's territory is well defined in 1954, when we were a British colony. Great Britain defined our border to include the continental shelf, being the seabed and its subsoil which lies beneath the high seas, contiguous to the territorial waters of Sarawak. This definition, this is a border, it's been there before 1963. Okay, when we federated with the Federation of Malaya and Sabah and Singapore, it does not mean that our definition changes. Prior to Malaysia Day, Sarawak exercised powers of a petroleum found within its extended boundaries, which is in the continental shelf, okay, maintained by virtue of Article 1.3 of the Federal Constitution. So after Malaysia Day, we continue to exercise our rights of petroleum within and on the land, and including those found offshore. So it will be fallacious for the federal government to take over ownership and all economic and property rights of Sarawak by shifting the territorial waters and boundary as under the Territorial Sea Act 750. That was in 2012. As I said, we are protected by the Federal Constitution. Article 1.3, it says, the territories of each of the states mentioned in Clause 2 are the territories comprised therein immediately before Malaysia Day. So, Sarawak before Malaysia Day and after Malaysia Day, it is the same. Okay, there can be no change in the political boundary. Article 2 of the Federal Constitution says, a law which alters the boundaries of a state shall not be passed without the consent of that state, expressed by a law made by the legislature of that state. Which means, okay, you can actually change the political boundaries, okay, of a territory within Malaysia, but you must do it constitutionally. That means the state legislature of that state must pass a resolution through its council, through its DUN, to authorize it. So the PDA 1974 Constitution Amendment A354 Section 2, which is the one that reduced Sarawak to one of 13 states, okay, and the territorial sea act, they are all in breaches of Article 2. Article 76 1C, okay, says Parliament may make laws with respect to any matter enumerated in the state list. Okay, but only as follows if requested by the Legislative Assembly of any state, which means any law that Parliament makes, the Federal Parliament makes, which affects Sarawak interests and which alters our boundary and our territorial waters, can only be enforced if our Council Negeri, which is our Sarawak Parliament, okay, has approved it. Sarawak has never requested Parliament to amend Article 1 or to enact PDA or TSA. The former Chief Minister, Rahman Yaakob, on the 27th of March 1975, he may have given his consent, but without constitutional provision to be applied in accordance with Article 2.1 and Article 76.3.4. The actions of our Chief Minister is never binding upon Sarawak. And hence, no purported vesting of these resources in Petronas can have any validity or force of law, which means it's unconstitutional, which means it's void, illegal, and it cannot be enforced in Sarawak. So, Article 83 says, so far as a law made under Clause 4 of the Article 76 makes provisions for conferring executive authority on the Federation, it shall not operate in any state unless approved by resolution of the Legislative Assembly of that state. Our Legislative Assembly is our DUN. Our DUN is our Sarawak Parliament. Our YBs who are in DUN, they are elected by democratic process and they represent the people of Sarawak. Okay. So the ninth schedule, Legislative List 2, which is a state list, okay, lists land as a state item, okay, where permits and licenses for prospecting for mines, mining licenses and certificates belong to the state. Okay. So the exclusive right of Sarawak to issue prospecting licenses, oil and gas leases, namely the profit sharing contract PSC, the risk sharing contract RSC, and the enhancement oil recovery EOR, which together with our municipal laws include Order in Council 1954, Land Code 1958, Oil Mining Ordinance 1958, OMO, which has just been recently amended in July 2018, Supplementary Deed 1965, and Gas Distribution Ordinance 2016. Okay? And the 10th schedule, Part 5, additional sources and revenue assigned to the states of Sabah and Sarawak. Sarawak can impose state sales. Okay? We can impose state sales on oil and gas products at 10% under Part 5 of the 10th schedule. Okay. So with all these rights to impose fees, payments for the leases, and also sales tax, it is actually more than 5%. I will not talk about 20%, because 20% on profit is 20% of nothing. Why? Because 20% of nothing is nothing. 20% of 100% is what is 100% of nothing? Nothing, right? Okay. So, what is the solution? Okay. We just heard from our two fellow Sarawakians here go to court. I've also read press reports, okay, of Pakatan lawyers saying go to court. Okay, but I am saying the PDA, the TSA, and amendment to the Article 1(2), okay, they are unconstitutional. They are not enforceable against Sarawak. So when you go to court, okay, when you go to court to raise a motion, okay, you are actually validating an unconstitutional act. Agree or not? So do we go to court now and demand that, TSA, PDA, and all this, is invalid? Yeah, then what's the solution? What I'm saying is that we do not go to court now. Okay? When a bad man comes to your house, what do? You just shut all your windows and lock your door tight. You will not let the robber in. Yeah? So we do have a means, the constitutional way. That is our Sarawak Parliament, our DUN. Okay? So what our DUN must do, first of all, before anything else, and actually I've already said it several times in newspapers, DUN must act to move the motion that PDA, TSA, and Amendment 354 Section 2, they are unconstitutional. Why is it important to do that? Okay, because if you don't do that, if later it goes to court, the court is going to say, for 50 years you did nothing. Inaction and silence means consent. You have acquiesced. Okay, so our DUN must act, even if you take an emergency sitting. We have to close all our doors and windows, ironclad, before anything else. Don't listen to Pakatan lawyers who tell you to go to court. That is a trap. Okay, after our house is safe, what do you do? Okay, then you can go to parliament. Okay, you can go to parliament. It's actually very simple. A354, which says that Sarawak is the 13th state. But I must clarify what is A354 because I have read the handset of 1976. A354 is a bundle of constitutional amendments. There are about 100 constitutional amendments, okay, which was passed en bloc. Earlier on, it was mentioned that 4 MPs from DEP objected. But no MP objected to the conversion of Article 1 to Article 1.2. There was objection from the DEP MPs, but they were objecting to other amendments such as arrest, detention orders and all that. So when Article 1 was amended to Article 1.2, which made Sarawak the 13th state, every MP, every Malaysian MP agreed, not one objected. I'll just make that clear, okay? So what we've got to do in Parliament is, we have to revert Article 1.2 back to Article 1, to the original, where it says that Sarawak is a component state of the Federation of Malaysia. And not one of the states together, lumped together with the other 11 states. So we only need to repeal A354 section 2, okay, which will revert the article back to Article 1, the original Article 1. Okay, so that Malaysia will be a federation of the Malayan states and the Borneo states, Sarawak and Sabah. Okay, simple? Yeah, okay. Then the next thing, what are we going to do about PDA? Okay, actually it's no big deal. All we need is to add an additional clause, a proviso. This act shall not apply to Sarawak. Habis. Same with Territorial Sea Act 750. This act shall not apply to the coastal state of Sarawak. Habis. Okay, so this is what we've got to do. So this case, right, PDA, TSA, and Article 1, they are breaches of the Malaysia Agreement 1963, which is a multilateral international agreement. Okay, so direction should be sought from a Queen's Council, okay, with competency and specialist knowledge of constitutional law, public international law and federalism, with a view to proceed to the British court for resolution of any dispute. Why not clapping? Okay. So this OMO, okay, it lists our powers in all exploration, all prospecting, all mining, and where we have the authority to charge annual rent, to charge royalties, and to charge sales tax. Okay, because now Petronas pays the federal government 5% royalty, dividends, and taxes. Should this not belong to us because Sarawak is landowner? Who is landowner? Exactly. Yeah. Okay. So I have some copies of my notes here because there's a lot of references to the law. Okay, you can get it from me later. This OMO is on sale outside at 10 ringgit. And with that, I'll proceed to my next presentation. Crystal, please. Okay, in 1952, Macmillan already talked about the Third British Empire. Okay, even before World War II, the British wanted to consolidate their colonial empire, the colonies in Southeast Asia. The intention was at first, to have Singapore and Malaya as one block, and then the British Borneo, which is Sarawak, Sabah, and Brunei, as another block. Okay, and then eventually merge the two blocks. But because of the Cold War, they had to, put forward a fast-track plan. Okay, but the purpose is to consolidate their colonies in Asia. Okay, so that they can maintain their power from east of Swiss right up to Hong Kong. Hong Kong was still a British colony at that time. Okay, so the British government will transfer the sovereignty of the colonies to a friendly regime. Okay. During decolonization, the Dutch gave their colonies to Indonesia. The British gave, British Borneo colonies to Malaya. So Malaya, is a proxy regional power, acting for the interests of London and Washington. Yes, US is involved. Okay. And in the 1950s, Malaya was earning 1/3 of the American dollars of the entire British Empire, upholding the sterling as an international currency. So, Britain surrendered its colonies and still maintained its military and economic interests cheaply. So, this Malaysia Agreement is the mother of all documents, because without this document, there is no Malaysia. It's an international agreement, and as Datuk Teng says, there are very few countries that are formed by international treaty. Okay, so Malaysia is one of them. Okay, so MA63 is supreme, and it can never be amended. You hear so much about review, and revisit or whatever, and discuss and bincang. You can do it till the cows home. Till the cows come home, okay? But you cannot amend one word of the Malaysia Agreement unless all the 5 countries come back together and sit down at the negotiating table. So when they're telling us that they need to set up committees, they need to discuss, they need to review, I can say it's all rubbish. Because Malaysia Agreement was signed already on the 9th of July, signed and sealed, okay? Everything is in there. All it needs is compliance, implementation, execution. No more talk, Okay. So, if you look at the agreement relating to Malaysia, it says, the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, Federation of Malaya, North Borneo, Sabah, Sarawak, and Singapore, agree as follows. Article 1. The colonies of North Borneo and Sarawak. Okay, it says the colonies of North Borneo and Sarawak. So what's the significance here? Next. These are the people who signed for Sarawak. Okay. You must remember, 9th July 1963, Sarawak is still a British colony. Okay? And the people who went there to sign, they are not the British government. They were not elected. They are just brought over hush-hush, by the British, to London to sign. These are their signatures. You can find this in my book, with the signatures. And for Sarawak is P.H. Hyde. He's the Attorney General. Tun juga. He is a Dayak leader. Abang Haji Mustafa, a community leader. Lim Beng Siu, and Abang Haji Openg, which is the father of our present CM. Okay. The colonial office, they knew that it's not right, that a colony can enter into an international treaty. Okay? So this memorandum says, on the assumption that all three Borneo territories would join Malaysia, there will be discussion over whether North Borneo and Sarawak, not being sovereign, could be parties to the agreement. It was vital that the leaders of the indigenous people should be signatories for North Borneo and Sarawak. Okay, but does that make the thing right? You know that a colony cannot sign an international treaty. You see, so you bring over some community leaders and you say it's correct. You see, so that is one of the assumption that this international treaty, okay, can be void at initial. That means it's already void from the beginning. A colonial parliament has no legislative power in relation to external affairs, no capacity to enter into international treaties with independent nations. Can an 11-year-old girl, sign the marriage certificate with a 50-year-old man? Is the marriage valid?
No.
Next. Okay, this is Tunku's motive. Way back in 1962, Borneo territories become the 12, 13, and 14 states of the federation proposal. These three states refer to Sarawak, North Borneo, and Brunei. So the intention has always been clear from the beginning to annex us, as an additional state to Malaysia.
Wow, that bad guy.
Okay, Tunku in his Merdeka message, he says, this will be a nation comprising Singapore, Sarawak, North Borneo, Brunei, and Malaya. And from Malaya's present area of 50,000 square miles, the size will extend to 130,000 square miles and the population will increase from 7 million to 10 million. Okay. So what did he say? It will be good financially, they have oil. But in 1962, he was not referring to Sarawak and Sabah oil. Okay? Above all, he wanted Brunei oil. Okay, so what does it mean for the Borneo territories? Okay, we are politically immature, we are backward, we don't have political parties, and we have not held elections. So we are politically immature. Okay, so the colonial opinion, all three Borneo territories are quite unfitted as yet to enter an association of this sort on the basis of popular representation. But they will continue to be so unfitted for many years to come. I should give Sarawak about 10 years and North Borneo at least another 20 years. How many of you know about the 9 cardinal principles of Sarawak? 9 cardinal principles? Okay, it's the preamble to our Sarawak Constitution 1941. Okay, with 9 cardinal principles, the 8th principle says, when Sarawak is ready, Sarawak will govern, herself. Okay, so the British knew that we are not ready. And yet, they still, fast track a plan and push us into Federation of Malaysia.
Self-determination.
Okay, so if we're not ready in 1963, which I agree, we're not ready in 1963 because we don't have political parties, we don't have election commission and all that. Are we ready today?
Yes. More than ready.
How many minutes left?
3 more minutes.
3 more minutes left. Okay. Corporate Commission, rubbish. Okay, next. Okay. Because they already decided to appoint the chairman who will write that the people of Sarawak and Sabah want to be merged with Malaya. Okay? Same. Okay. They claim to met with 4,000 Sarawakians. Our population of 1.2 million. That's 0.33%. Okay? And they claim to have received 2,000 memorandum, that's 0.183%. Okay, next. Sarawak, through SUPP, actually, they collected 112,000 signatures. That is 28% of adult Sarawakians, who want independence before anything else. Okay? So the commission said about 20% oppose. Then Tunku in a speech he says 80% agree with the concept of Malaysia. Same with the United Nations, they chose the unreliable man who will write that the people of Sarawak and Sabah want to merge with Malaya. You see, the British, they have to answer to public opinion. Other countries will oppose if they just give us our way to Malaya. Okay, next. So I have only 3 minutes, I'll just go very fast. Okay, next. 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 Okay, next. You see, during that time, there were 9 British warships, airborne carrier, and 40 Royal Marine Commandos in Singapore, when the UN came. Which means, it shows our concern. One Royal Marine Commando is between 500 to 2,000. Okay, next. Okay, this rubbish UN report. Did we form a new nation? No, we did not form a new nation. Only he went to United Nations and then he says, Malaysia is Malaya. We are still the same 1957 Malaya, but now we have 3 additional territories. So therefore, we don't have to apply for new membership. So as far as the UN membership record is concerned, okay, Malaysia is 1957 Malaya. Okay, that's what UN says. Okay, not what I say. Okay, they have specific reasons, but I don't have time, so I won't read it out. Next. There's the official statement from UN, the legal opinion that says, yeah, correct. Malaysia is Malaya. You're just bigger. That's all.
No, injury time, 2 minutes.
Okay. So basically, the British transferred us as colonies to Malaya, to form Malaysia. Next. Singapore exited in 1965. MA63 is silent. Why? Because the colonial officer says, any state voluntarily entering the federation have an intrinsic right to secede at will. And that was therefore necessary to include it. Next. Okay, so on 16 September, the Queen says, I pledge in presenting to you this gift from the British government to the government of Malaya. This piece of modern silver, especially designed by British craftsmen for the occasion, brings with it the greetings of people of Britain. Very flowery, British language, Her Majesty, the Queen, has transferred to His Majesty, the Agong, her sovereignty over Singapore, Sabah and Sarawak. Okay, Malaysia will offer to them and all its citizens widening opportunities for progress and prosperity. Do we have progress and prosperity today? I think some of you come from the long houses, right? Do you agree with what the Queen says? No. So, Tunku says, I can assure you that I'm most thankful for this message. I'm grateful. Of course, who is not grateful? I'll also be grateful if someone give me 3 countries. You see? And I'm grateful for the confidence in passing the rights over the territories to us. Okay. And yeah, that's the cartoon picture I made. Christmas came early to Malaya. 16 September 1963, they got the Christmas present from the Queen of England. And lastly, this letter, the former YB for Pujut, he wrote to the Queen and asked the Queen to review our situation. And the Queen says, Her Majesty asked me to thank you for letters, and I am sorry, I cannot. Her Majesty has taken careful note of the issues you raised regarding Sarawak and the other former British colonies affected by the Malaysia Agreement, 9th of July 1963. I must tell you, however, that this was not a matter in which the Queen would intervene. Okay? So, basically the Queen here is saying, you go and look for your own government. I wash my hands off you. Correct? And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Miss Lina Soo. Never enough. Round of applause, please. Thank you very much. Now we come to the 4th speaker. When I asked, how do I address him, say, just call me Zainal, because I'm an activist. Zainal, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sebastian. Actually, again, thank you for having me here. This will be the number of times that I've been to Miri. And just now, Dr. Sebastian asked me to clarify on the amendments to Article 1.2 before 1976 and then after 1976. Now, Article 1.2 of the Federal Constitution is also part of Section 4.1.2 in the Malaysia Agreement under Annex A. So basically, what is happening here is that in 1976, the federal government amended the Constitution in such a way that we no longer become the units or the territories, the 3 territories that form Malaysia. Instead, we become the 12 and 13. Now, the other wrong thing that they did was actually, they say that the states of the federation, the word the federation under the Constitution, this is the Malaysia Constitution, it means that the federation are the federation that was established under the Federation of Malaya Agreement 1957. So, on one side, Sabah and Sarawak form Malaysia based on the Malaysia Agreement 1963. In the Constitution today, we are made part of the Federation based on the Federation of Malaya Agreement 1957. So, that in itself already says that the amendment to Article 1, Federal Article 1.2 is already invalid. That in itself. Now, the other thing is that they also make amendment to Article 1.3. Article 1.3 is basically, if you read it here in the new Constitution, it basically put us at par with Selangor. So first they put us under Malaya, and then they make sure under Article 1.3 they make us part of the same level as Selangor, which we are not.
Meaning the MA63 is a fraud?
No.
Not a fraud?
Not a fraud.
Not a fraud.
It is a legit document.
But we are cheated.
No. You are cheated because you didn't read the Malaysia Agreement. So, that is basically it. But we have to accept the reality of the formation of Malaysia. The reality is this. Malaya have about 30 million people, 11 million voters. We only have about 2 million voters, Sabah and Sarawak combined. So, as a politician, who do you satisfy first, the 11 million or the 2 million? Definitely the 11 million, because they are going to put you as the Prime Minister of the country. Now, we have to understand that. That's the reality. So if we understand the reality of the formation of Malaysia, do you insist on going on to Parliament? Number one. Do you, because you go to Parliament, you lose. Do you go to the Malaysian court? No. You go to Malaysian court, you lose. So, the issue, if we want to resolve this, is not in the Malaysian court. You can go to Malaysian court, and whatever decision by the Malaysian court, you will use that as an excuse for arbitration in London. Because you know you lose. So you will use that as an excuse for arbitration in London. But there is a caveat here. You see, the problem is when you bring this issue to London, there is no appeal. Meaning to say, if Putrajaya doesn't want to sit down and talk, and you are forced to bring this issue to London, Putrajaya is no more. That means we can forget about Putrajaya, we can forget about Malaya. That means we have to look after ourselves. But the biggest issue here is this: are we ready?
Yes.
No, we are not. You know the reason why I am saying we are not? For the last more than 50 decades, more than 5 decades, how many of us bring up the issue of Malaysia Agreement? Practically zero. If the legacy that was left to us by the British, we don't know how to use, do we know how to govern ourselves? So we have to be realistic in that sense as well. Are we ready? If we are not ready, what should we be doing? It's easy, it's simple, it's very fashionable to say, let's go and have independence. And then what? And before you know it, next week China will come in here with their flotilla of ships. And what are we supposed to do then? Are we supposed to, hooray, accept them in? Fight them with what? With bamboo sticks? So again, we have to face the reality. So the reality is we have to be cautious when we do this. If, say for example, we need to go to London, what is your next step? If London so decide, if the court in London so decide, with your arbitration, that okay, we will judge you in favor of you. You have the right. Then what happens? You dance in the street? No. What is the next step? The next step is you have to go and see the Queen. Now, just now there was a letter from the Queen. My question is, do we know how to interpret the letter? Or we just read it as, okay, the Queen says, I don't care about you. If she says, I don't care about you, your letter will be in the dustbin. The fact that she answered means she cared. But she cannot say a lot of things just like that. Okay, some of you are Chinese here. You understand protocol. How do you go and meet your emperor? Do you just simply send him a letter? No. You send him a letter. I mean the modern times. You send him a letter. Yes, they answer. And what was the answer? The answer was, the Queen is a constitutional monarch. That was the answer. Didn't say, I don't care about you. So what does that mean? That means the Queen is telling you, I am a constitutional monarch. For you to meet me, you have to follow the convention and tradition. Protocol. So that's how the British work. And we have to understand them. So how do we meet the Queen? Through convention and tradition. Through her private council. Who are her private council who advise the Queen? These are the hereditary lords. So you actually have to convince the hereditary lords before they will talk to the Queen, and the Queen will decide to meet you. That's protocol. So that's how this should be done. Now, coming back to the issue. Okay, we bring this issue to London court. and they decide to judge to you. That means Malaya is out, no appeal. What do you do next?
Self-determination.
By whom? You see, this is the whole process that we need to go through. After your decision has been made, then your next step is actually to go to the Queen. But you don't just simply walk up to Buckingham Palace, knock on the gate and say, allow me in. This is where the convention and tradition comes in. You have to talk to the private council, the advisors to the Queen, for you to get in. Now, if you want to get Theresa May's government to step in, when I went to London last August, Theresa May was in a position where if you can convince 5 of her MP to fight for your cause, Theresa May will fight for your cause. Only 5 MP. What does it mean? It means her position is not stable. She is in a poor position politically. So, if 5 of her MPs approach her and talk about Borneo cause, she will fight for it. Today, if the position is much better, after all the Brexit discussion and all that, you may need to get them. So, you see, these are the practical process that you need to go through. Now, once you pass all this, you see the Queen, and the Queen decides, okay, I have given Malaya as a trustee for you guys since 1963. Why I'm saying it's a trustee, I think read my book on Queen obligation. I have explained why Malaya is actually a trustee. Malaya is not, because it's the only independent part of the three. Sabah, Sarawak, and Malaya. Malaya is the only independent one. So Sabah and Sarawak are actually beneficiaries, which Malaya is supposed to look after. Read Resolution 1541, 15 in bracket, Principle 9 of the Annex. And that actually confirmed that Malaya is actually just a trustee. But this trustee have breached the agreement. So we need the agreement to show the breach. You cannot throw away the agreement. You cannot say the agreement is invalid, because if you say that, there is nothing to breach anymore. So if there is nothing to breach anymore, then where are we? We have a problem there. So we have to accept that the agreement is valid. Only when the agreement is valid, then we can point fingers at Malaya and say, you have breached this agreement. You see that point? So it is important for us to know that the agreement is breached. In actual fact, I have spent some time, at least about 1.5 years, to reconcile between the federal constitution and the Malaysia Agreement. And I have found 50 breaches.
Thank you.
It's not just one, not just two. In actual fact, on the oil and gas, it's already about 5 breaches. And if there is anybody that is going to bring this issue up to London, I'm willing to give the 50 breaches.
Thank you.
I'm willing to do that. Because whatever Sarawak get, Sabah will get. Okay. Now, on the oil and gas. Now, in addition to what was done by the central government, which is inconsistent, the PDA is not valid right from the start. That I agree. The PDA is not valid right from the start. Why? Because there is a principle of international law which says that, I'm sorry, my Latin is not that good. Uti posseditis juris. What it means is that as you possess under the law, that means the frontiers inherited from colonial times are deemed not to be subject to alteration. Wow. Okay? Not subject to alteration. This is international law. It has nothing to do with Malaysia law. Now, when North Borneo and also Sarawak was given the alteration of boundaries order in council in 1954, that means that is the boundary that was created during the colonial times. Now, that creation of that boundary cannot be altered. Now, let me put it this way. I think you understand about May 13. The consequences of the state of emergency. The consequences of it in the October 1969, they passed a law which is called the Emergency Essential Order, Order number 7. All right, number 7. What does number 7 do? Number 7 reduces what was given by the Queen in 1954, which is the continental shelf. Under UNCLOS, the continental shelf is 350 miles, not more. 350 miles. All right? That is our territorial water. Sabah and Sarawak have the same thing. So our territorial water is 350 miles. But the order number 7 reduces that size to just 3 nautical miles. And that was done in 1969, which is during the emergency. So during the emergency, the federal government has the power to pass this type of law. Just to take whatever belongs to you. That's what emergency was all about. Then, in October 1969, they gazette, okay, they passed the Continental Shelf Act 1966 earlier on, but they cannot impose it, they cannot enforce it in Sabah and Sarawak because they need to go through the dune. So to circumvent the dune, they waited until 1969, state of emergency. So during that state of emergency, all right, what happened was they gazette the Continental Shelf Act 1966. What does this Continental Shelf Act means? The Continental Shelf Act states very clearly that whatever is beyond the territorial boundary of the state. Remember just now, number 7, reduce it to 3 nautical miles. Continental Shelf says whatever is beyond the 3 nautical miles belongs to the federal government. So that was how our oil and gas was taken from us, using the state of emergency. Alright? That's how they circumvent even this principle of international law. Now, so they've got that. So they've got the territories. Then in 1974, because they don't know what to do with these territories, in 1974, they created a special purpose vehicle under the Petroleum Development Act, which is called Petronas. Now, in 1976, what they did was they transfer, all right, Razak transfer all the territories that they have taken from Sabah and Sarawak and pass it to Petronas. That was what Razak did. Right? So, all our leaders in Sabah and in Sarawak who signed the petroleum agreement, it's nothing. Because the petroleum agreement that they signed is for the 3 nautical miles. The rest have been taken. But what the federal government wants to do, the central government wants to do is that to show you that it's your leader who actually signed it away. In actual fact, the central government have taken it in 1969. And only in 1975 that Tun Razak signed the vesting order and give whatever that they have taken to Petronas. And for that reason, the central government until today claim ownership. And for that reason, until today, the central government is paid dividend. And to hoodwink everybody, they keep on saying cash payment as royalty payment. It's actually, cash payment is not royalty payment. Even Azmin in parliament keep on saying it's royalty payment. But when asked the definition of royalty payment, even Azmin Ali was saying, oh, it's based on the PDA74. That means cash payment. So, how? This is senior minister now in PH government who doesn't even understand the difference between what is royalty, what is cash payment. I think a lot of our people is also confused over this. What is royalty? What is cash payment? Royalty means you are the owner. Just like a singer. A singer owns the song. So you pay her or him royalty. You see, you don't pay him or her cash payment. In the case of Petronas, it is very clear under PDA 74 that under Section 4 that the corporation will only pay cash payment. It's written there. So that is an act of parliament which pay cash payment. Right? If you read the federal constitution under Article 112C 4B, what does it say? It says there very clearly, Parliament cannot pass law which deny Sabah and Sarawak royalty. So in the first place, PDA is unconstitutional. Dia langgar saja itu provision. And they don't care. Because, remember the reality just now, they have to look after 11 million voters. They don't care about the 2 million voters here. They just kick you aside.
I think we still live on the treetop.
But that's the reality. Alright? So we have to accept that. And because, okay, done. 1963 agreement done, signed. But it doesn't mean that we don't know how to make use of it. And this is what we are trying to do. Make use of it. Get the government to use it. Get the NGO to use it. Get the people to use it. Talk about it.
Awareness.
It is very important. Because as long as we talk about it, what the central government have been doing to us all these years are deception, bullying, and lies.
Colonization.
Yes. You see, if we stand up, okay, we stand up and call their bluff, call their lies, call their deception,
We call that penyamun.
then they will take a step back and they say, oh look, the Sabah people and the Sarawak people, no joke. They go, wallop you back. You talk, they will talk you back.
General awareness.
Yes, that is important.
Thank you.
So this is what we need to do, actually, to spread the word, to get more people to understand, to get more people to talk.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Zainal, for your excellent sharing again. Thank you. I was about to inform you that you are almost up near to injury time. Thank you again, everybody, for staying back. We will have a question and answer. I need your help. When you would like to answer a question, if I may have your name, please, for record purposes. No need to give us your headphone. Now, you may wish to direct a question to any four of the panel speakers, or you may just ask a general question and then ask any of them to respond. Yeah? Thank you. Yes, Mr. Tong, yes.
I'm not asking a question, I'm making another comment. We have been ladies and gentlemen in Sarawak and Sabah. We are humble. We don't fight until we are, diplomacy runs dry. No problem. But we don't take action, legal action. Petronas challenge us in court already. The victim does not take action. The predator takes action against the victim. That's what I comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chong. Yes. Yeah, Bernard.
My name is Bernard Gong. Since 1965, the Singapore is ASEAN Malaysia. So that under the MA63, since the Singapore already opened the example, can Sarawak also ASEAN Malaysia or not?
Thank you for that question. The Singapore, actually, by way of Act of Parliament, it was separated. The actual word is separation, separated from Malaysia. And anybody would like to take up this? Yes, Zainal, thank you.
Okay. In the Singapore case, in actual fact, an agreement was reached on the 7th of August 1965 between the Malaysia government and Singapore. But when they were negotiating, it appears that Tengku was using the Federation of Malaya letterhead instead of the Malaysia Federation letterhead. And these two letters was put in the book, The Golden Sun of the Kadazan. So these two letters was put in that book, and until today that book is banned. Yes. So we managed to go and read through. This is by Santa Maria, I think the writer. We go through the book, we read it. There's nothing wrong. In fact, if you read my Queen Obligation, it's much more controversial than this book on the Golden Sun. Yet they banned this book because we believe it's because of the two letters, the Singapore, Singapore and the Federation of Malaya letters. All right. So in this context, what really happened was, number one, it was an agreement. Number two, they passed a Singapore Separation Act 2 days after the agreement was done. Now they did that because then the Singaporean member of parliament cannot attend parliament anymore. So they can pass the Singapore Separation Act. You see? So they are very clever, these Malayan leaders. So what happened was, they passed that law. But on the 10th of August, the newspaper in Singapore, this is what I've got, the newspaper in Singapore published that the British doesn't recognize the Separation Act made by Malaysian parliament at that time. So they did not recognize. All right. So meaning to say, Singapore wasn't independent on the 9th of August. All right. But Singapore, I think, went to England to appeal to the Queen. That's why in 1966, the Singapore Act was passed by Westminster. Now, so that's when Singapore actually achieved its independence. It wasn't 1965. It was 1966.
Really?
Yeah. So now, and I have confronted the Singaporean High Comm on this, and he has to agree. Now, so the issue here is this: for any of the British Dominion, okay, colonies and dominions, will never get independence until Westminster pass a law. So Singapore is the case, all right? Until the British passed the Singapore Act 1966, that Singapore is really independent. Before that, wasn't independent. But the 1966 was done in such a way that retrospectively, the retrospective effect was put in there, all right? So meaning to say, we cannot get independence by ourselves. So we need a law passed by Westminster for us to be independent. We can, but it has to go through that process.
Let's Sarawak be second, Sabah after.
Thank you, Zainal.
May I?
Yes, please.
Okay, Singapore accepted that already set the precedent. Okay, so we'll not go into the details, but just now I heard a member, of the audience here says self-determination, right? Self-determination means the people of a defined territory have the inalienable right to decide their own political, economic, and cultural future. We don't care about the Queen, we don't care about Queen. But, self-determination is established international law. Okay? And in 2012, what Kosovo did was, they passed a law in the parliament and declared a unilateral declaration of independence. It went before ICJ. Serbia took it to ICJ, and the international court ruled that it's not against international law. You see, for a state to declare itself independent.
For the audience, ICJ is International Court of Justice.
No, we cannot go to ICJ. You see, what Kosovo did is, Kosovo is a parliament. Earlier on I said, what is a parliament? A parliament is a law-making assembly of a country, of a territory. And the parliament is constitutional, the lawmakers are elected. They have the right to decide questions of national interest for its constituents, for the people of a country. So, Kosovo, the parliament acted. And like I said, it's already set the precedent, it's not against international law. So it's not today, it's not necessary that you must go to Queen or you must need the British Parliament to pass an act of independence, or whatever. What I'm saying that the future is in your hands. The people of a defined territory decide. We are a people. We're different. The Sarawak people and the Sarawak territory is defined before Malaysia. So we have our rights. It's an inalienable right. Even if we die, that right is still there. So I have to say the future is in your hands. We don't have to talk so much about law or the past or whatever. It's in your hands. So you have the voting power. If the current government doesn't do what you want to do, just vote in the parliament, they will do what you want to do. It's as simple as that. Thank you.
Thank you. We want to sorry, yes, Councillor Cramped. After that, the gentleman in front, and then after that, Johnny, and then the fourth one. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Correct. Yes. Thank you. Yes, Councillor.
Yes. This question is further to what our Yang Berhormat Idris mentioned earlier on regarding the status of the Sarawak cabinet. So the Sarawak cabinet, we have a chief minister leading the cabinet compared to the Malayan states who have executives. So in order to further enhance the position of Sarawak within, say, the federation, should the YBs not move for an amendment to the Sarawak constitution to call the chief minister the premier of Sarawak, giving it further enhanced recognition?
Yeah, thank you.
Well, that could be one way. Yeah. But if the premier of Sarawak is to be equivalent with the what they call chief minister of Malacca, what's the point? But the question is, the federal government must be sincere in their executive action as well as policy to ensure our chief executive from Sabah and Sarawak must be accorded higher than any CEO of any state in the federation, in the federal Malay state, as well as any federal minister. That should be, in terms of sincerity, to give us equality and equitability, to show respect to the voices from Sabah and Sarawak, the people of Sabah, and respect to the spirit of the Malaysia Agreement. Does that answer you?
Okay, thank you. Soalan ni saya guna BM ditujukan kepada Tuan Zainal. Banyak sudah yang kita dengar dan baca tentang MA63 ya. Nama saya Chris Iskandar. Lepas tu berdasarkan bukti-bukti yang ada, ternyata MA63 memihak kepada Sabah dan Sarawak. Dan seharusnya perkara-perkara dalam MA63 dilaksanakan. Sekarang kita bercakap pasal hak kita. Hak Sabah, hak Sarawak, hak Sabah, Sarawak. Okey. Soalan saya adalah, apakah hak persekutuan, kerajaan persekutuan, aka Kerajaan Malaya untuk menidakkan atau melengahkan atau memutabelitkan MA63? Apa hak dia? Terima kasih.
Very good question, sir. Saya kira mau tanya that question juga. Very good.
Terima kasih. Saya rasa macam tadi saya katakan reality 11 juta voters pemilih di Malaya, 2 juta pemilih di sini. So pemimpin-pemimpin dan elites di Malaya akan menggunakan sedaya upaya untuk memutarbelitkan apa itu perjanjian Malaysia. Kita bersyukur sekarang ini diorang belum berapa paham apa itu Malaysia Agreement. Now, Malaysia Agreement atau perjanjian Malaysia ini, even Sabah dan Sarawak, with all due respect YB Adun belum paham, MP tidak paham. Tengok diorang punya perbincangan di parlimen, tidak paham langsung. Bila saya tengok yang diorang cakap pasal MA63, ada yang dari Sarawak, ada yang dari Sabah, saya perhati kebanyakan fakta salah atau jalan cara dia cakap itu salah, dan diorang tidak mau berusaha untuk mendapatkan memahami ini. Saya anytime Datuk Sept panggil pergi Miri, saya datang. Panggil pergi Kuching, saya datang. So, saya tunggu lagi nih PRS mana? Tak bilang. DAP bilang. Saya tunggu, tapi tiada orang mau. Bukan saya tidak mau memperjelaskan. Yang sebenarnya saya lebih suka kalau saya boleh train the trainers, saya lebih suka. Lepas itu the trainers go and work. Kasih spread the word. Itu saja senjata kita ini. Apabila mulut kita tidak dapat ditutup, itu sudah senjata kita.
Yeah, thank you. Ajoni, please, thank you.
Thank you, Datuk Sebastian, the moderator. My name is Johnny Kapong, and my question is directly to Lina Soo. She's beautiful, smart. Thank you for coming. My point of talking to you, with reference to what you have mentioned to us, listen properly. I'm very concerned about how these people who amended our status from territory to state in 1974 and 76, precisely Tun Rahman and some other society. But in accordance to the agreement, according to you, that was in 1963, there were 5 of them, United Kingdom, Singapore, Malaya, Sarawak, Sabah. They have amended that without the concern, without the permission and whatnot, the knowledge of Great Britain Queen. Therefore, how could they actually abuse us, Sarawak? I don't think we should continue them to bully or abuse us anymore. I would agree that we stand on our feet. Now I'm 63. I'm getting older. When the iron is hot, strike. I fully agree with that guy, Teng. What is that? SUPP. And so all of you, please answer me now. Positive. Thank you.
Thank you. You know the question, huh? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, brother. Okay. About the amendment. The Malaysia Agreement was amended only once. Okay, and all the countries signed it. It was amended to change the date from 31st August to September 16. That was to accommodate the United Nations missions, which came to Sarawak and Sabah. So yes, but then, when there's an amendment, all the signatory nations must sign. Okay, and that was done. Okay, so today you say you are waiting. Okay, we have some contention here, there's contention that, whether the Malaysian Agreement is valid, and our friend here says that it is valid, and I'm saying that there are, 3 contentions. One is colonies cannot sign international treaties. Okay, that's international law. Second thing is Singapore acceded in 1965. So they altered the status of the agreement. It also altered the political, boundary of the federation. So that is also, a major breach of MA63. And since 1963 up to today, there have been so many breaches. Our friend said there have been 50 breaches. So when the international agreement has been violated 50 times, then the agreement is no longer valid. The thing is, I say, you say, no use. Okay? So the only thing is, since it's signed by 5 countries, the only recourse open, would be to go back to the place where it was signed, which is London. And Britain was the signatory nation. Okay? So whether you get a declaration or not, but if it goes before court, you will get court findings. Okay? They'll have something to say, about the Malaysia Agreement. There'll be court findings if there is no definitive, ruling to say whether it's void, it's illegal, or it's, already void from multiple breaches. But that step has not been taken, so we don't know. See? But like I said, the other thing is, our parliament which is our dun, is all powerful. This is our country, this is our government, this is our dun. So there are so many things that our dun can do. And of course, if dun pass a resolution to say that our chief minister shall be called the Prime Minister of Sarawak, yes, it can be done because the precedent was already set. When Singapore was still part of Malaysia, the Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew was still addressed as the Prime Minister of Singapore, even during the time it was in Malaysia. So yeah, we can. Our dun is all powerful, and the power is in your hands. I want to tell you, the power is in your hands. It's constitutional, it's legal, and it's peaceful. It's peaceful. There's no need for bloodshed, and no country is going to attack us. Singapore and Brunei are so small. China, Indonesia, and Philippines never attack it, and they didn't even have an army. You see. So don't place so many props in front of yourself. Thank you.
Thank you. 1 minute, wait up. After you, then Mr. Chong will wait up. Dr. Idris would like to respond. The add in a little while it's hot.
Okay, just one issue. Miss Lina Soo. The thing is, not that Dun didn't want to act, but sometimes emotion, like you want to declare like the PDA is illegal or whatever it is, but at Dun level, it's against the standing order. That's my side, because you are discussing a federal matter, which is beyond. The right venue would be Parliament. Yeah, Parliament. Whatever you do at Dun, you can do it. All of us are acting concert, the opposition, the government, at state level. Nothing can be done. There's no intent.
Parliament is controlled by Malaya.
Hold on. But we have rules. So the best thing, still, as I said now, we have to go to the courts for a declaration. If you don't trust the Malaysian court, I agree. Go to London. Even, like you said, the Malaysia Agreement is illegal. Huh? They say, you don't have the authority. You're saying that these people have no authority, whatever. It's like an 11-year-old girl signing a marriage certificate. The thing is, there's no worry. You know why? The real evidence is before Parliament in UK. The handsets are there. Actually, Lord Coble, Lord Lonsdale, it is their act and testimony which were important. Irrespective of whether the agreement existed or not, their testimony stands through time and time, in history. To say that the Sarawak people entered into some kind of arrangement to form a nation. Even, so you don't worry about it. Throw away the Malaysia Agreement, but the terms are still there, incorporated in the Malaysia Act, UK, and are now absorbed into the Malaysia Act, Malaysia, all with direct reference or indirect reference, the terms of the IGC, reflecting all the Cobble Commission's findings and things like that, were evidence in support of our faith. So don't worry about technicalities. The better that they agree that such agreements and terms were discussed by the de facto leaders. So these people were de facto leaders. Tunope, Lim Siu, who else? Don Stephen, there's right. Tunjuga, they were de facto leaders. But there were witnesses who gave the documented testimony, which resounded and supported Lord Lonsdale, Lord Coble, and all the evidences before the peace. So don't worry about that. Okay? So what I mean is, hold on, while I'm striking it. If you don't trust the Malaysian court, go to London,
force London to go to ICJ because we are not part of the UN. You are not a member of UN. You don't have local standard to go to UN directly. But you can get London and even Singapore, the one who exited, yeah, to join us and bring our faith to the United Nations and ICJ. So that is the way. Actually, I've been advocating that from within. So don't worry about losing our rights. We will not give up to the very last drop of our blood. Okay, Sarawakian.
Yes, Councillor
one point before. Now, also about sincerity. At least Najib government gave 9 ministers and some Timbalan Menteri and so on. But the BH government only give 1.5. I hope they'll do better than that.
Thank you. The speaker at the back, 1 minute. Dr. Lawrence wait. The one over there. After that, Dr. Lawrence, and then Mr. Chong, and then yourself. Yes. 1 minute. Thank you so much. I think we will exceed the 1 hour allocation. We'll proceed. Okay. We are taking 1 minute after Mr. John, then you are okay. Yes, yes. Thank you.
My name is Vijay. My knowledge might be very shallow. I just that just one question, very simple question. Especially for Datuk Sebastian. Our Tok has started the the 40% whatever our money, the royalty. What is the follow up on that? Because I think the Sarawak, we Rakyat Sarawak is waiting for our money. And if we can get our money, it's not only for school or education or anything. You even have more than enough money to distribute to every single doors in Sarawak, to the people of Sarawak. I think we have more than that. If you can give us 1 million each door, we are very, very okay, Sept, and yes, we are looking forward to that. And I think everybody will be very happy. And we have worked too strong. I mean, we work hard already to build our country. We should be very, we're looking forward to that. Yeah, and if we were to go out of Malaysia, think of what currency we are going to use for Sarawak. Okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your question. I love that. Yeah, because when the Petros was formed, when our state government intended to have our own Petronas, so-called, yeah, our own Sarawak oil and gas company known as Petros. Now, last July in the Dun, in my speech, I mentioned about, talking about this amendment, I proposed 2 things. Number 1, every Sarawakian will have a share in Petros. Reason is this: oil and gas belongs to you and me. Belongs to us. Number 2, when I mentioned that, of course, each year they can come out with a dividend. We only have 2.8 million people. Yeah, only 2.8 million people. So they can come out with the money they earn from petrol, oil and gas. Yeah, these 2. More than enough for us and our newborn. When I mentioned that, all Sarawakian, including the newborn, each would have a share. Number 2, I also mentioned about our state government set up a sovereign fund, just like Norway. I make comparison. Norway and Sarawak, we discover oil almost the same time. Norway population is 5.35 million. We only have 2.8 million. Norway started the sovereign fund in 1990. Up to last year, the sovereign fund is US 1 trillion. World number 1. Number 2, UAE. Number 3, China. So imagine, if we had started also at that time, we will have a lot of money. But like what we always say, late is better than never. We must start somewhere. So that was in my speech. Yeah, that was also in my speech. And last annual general meeting for SUPP, that was also in our resolution. And we will be forwarding this also to our Chief Minister to say we would like to move this as the rights for Sarawak. Dr. Lawrence. Okay, after Dr. Lawrence, then you, Mr. Chong.
Hello. My name is Lawrence Lai. I've got a few questions. Number one to Ms. Lina Soo. You mentioned no need to go to court because of trying to enforce some law that is a PDA, Territorial Water Act is as illegal. You said go to DUN, pass the motion, pass the relevant thing. I agree with the motion in DUN because I call it a political move or political solution. As a lawyer, I don't agree that you say no need to go to court. Because you go to court, and that part I agree with YB Idris, Datuk Teng. You go to court, like what YB Idris said, you apply by notice of originary motion to declare Petroleum Development Act as illegal, as null and void. You need to go within a court of law to declare that law as illegal, null and void, and unconstitutional. So that's the first point. You can reply me. Number two, YB Idris said maybe DUN cannot pass a motion because it affects federal law. Then maybe I can request, I don't think there's Pakatan MP here, but I think we can request GPS MP to pass such motion in Parliament. Number three, we have talked about going to court. YB Idris, Datuk Teng. My question is, if you don't mind me saying, what is the Sarawak government waiting for? What is the GPS government doing? The federal court, for whatever reason, declared that it is not a correct forum. That was in July, is it? It was in July. Yeah. We are now end of September. So we got ample time. We have a lot of lawyers in Sarawak. I don't mind to volunteer. Okay. Question four. We heard about Petros. We heard about all this PDA is now in what the oil and gas belong to Sarawak. Maybe Sebastian said, set up this fund, sovereign fund. That one is the detail. Okay. My question is, correct me if I'm wrong, but Petros has given Petronas or the contractors December 2019 to comply with applying licenses, to apply with all these things. My question is, why do we give them so damn long? Why don't we give them 1 month? To be fair, Sarawakians are very nice people. Why don't we just give them 1 month, 2 months? Because that was decided in July. We give them December 2018. 6 months is more than enough. Why do we give them so much time when everybody is saying oil and gas belongs to Sarawak? Why we give them so much time? Why not now? Thank you.
Thank you. You get first? Okay, thank you.
Okay, Dr. Lawrence, very good. I agree with you. But unfortunately, myself and Datuk Sept, we are not in the cabinet. If we were in the cabinet, if I were in the cabinet, I would ask them just 1 month. But this is beyond us. But anyway, we respect the leadership, give the last chance of diplomacy to work. Yeah. But anyway, touching on what do you call that? The courts, in Parliament. That one, they should. Our members of Parliament, both from JPS and PH, they should start doing a motion. Yeah. But I believe, I don't know. I don't know what happened also, because we're not members of Parliament. They should do it. Yeah. We should make this voice public, yeah, for them, to pressure them. Yeah.
No, you have 2 questions here, and the other one is for
let me answer
Lina. Yes,
okay.
please. Yeah, thank you.
Right. When I say don't go to court, I mean don't go to court now. Not now. Before anything else, we must close our door and our windows first. And we have to take this constitutional measure in June, okay, to lock our doors and windows. Therefore, we have to put it in our laws that we do not accept PDA, TSA, and Amendment 350 Section 2. Okay. So after that, you can go to Parliament, or if Petronas goes to court, then we can. Because we are ready then, right? Because if we do not, they can say that 50 years of inaction and silence means consent. How come, for 50 years you never say or do anything? Okay? So now you are going to court, the court can say you have agreed. You see, that is the danger. So I am cautioning. I'm cautioning the first step we do in Dun. Dun is our law-making assembly. Dun makes laws. Sarawak Dun is all-powerful. Okay? So do that first, then go to Parliament and say, amend repeal 354 Section 2, and then add the proviso to PDA and TSA. Okay, Tommy Thomas, our AG, said that PDA is constitutional. He may be right. What I'm saying that it is constitutional for Malaya, but it's not constitutional for Sarawak. We don't care if it applies to Terengganu, Kelantan, or any state, that's all. But as far as Sarawak is concerned, our Dun has not enforced it, therefore we reject it. Therefore, we do not, when we go to Dun, no, when we go to Parliament, we don't ask to repeal PDA or TSA. Let it be there. All we have to do is just add an additional clause saying that this act shall not apply to Sarawak. Say for this act shall not apply to Sarawak. You are apply it to Malaya, go ahead. Because the Federation of Malaya is formed by the Federation of Malaysia Agreement 1948 or 1957. Okay? So that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying don't go to court ever. Lock our door, lock our windows, be ready. Okay? Then anything else follows. The law is behind us. We must make sure that the law is behind us. And we are constitutionally correct. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you. 1 minute now. Dr. David will want to say something. 1 minute on this. 1 minute.
Yeah. Question of exit from Malaysia, huh? I think that is at the back of your minds. But what I'm saying here now is to put everybody in proper perspective. Huh?
Thank you.
Number 1, agreements and constitution does not provide a clause for withdrawal unilaterally. Unilaterally. In other words, say 3 of us, you want to get out. Singapore is a case where it's by consent. whether it is by force or whether it is willingly, doesn't matter. Still, it is by consent. So please understand that Sarawak can still get out if the other two parties agree. Divorce by consent. So please, within that very clear legal and constitutional position.
Without bloodshed.
Of course. Whatever. If you are by consent, you don't need bloodshed. We depart nicely. Right? Number two is all of us here emphasize the importance of Dun and parliaments. Right? Under our Westminster system, Parliament is supreme. Practically, you can do anything. You can disallow people from using chopstick. Legally speaking. Right? So, now here I'd like to mention what is our partnership position in Malaysia. A lot of decision is decided by Parliament. PDA because out of Parliament legislature, which is very powerful. Now, look at our Sarawak on position in the legislature. In 1963, when we signed the agreement, there was a clause saying that Sarawak will maintain its number of MP in Parliament for a period of 7 years. Right? And thereafter, the number of the MP, the creation of new seats will be left to Election Commission and subsequently approved by Parliament. That is what we agree. So, I quote you the figures. In 1963, we have a total number of MP 159. 159. At that time, Malaya has 104, 65%. We had 24, 15%. Singapore has 15, 10%. Now, after so many years, the last delineation at the year 2013, there is an increase of number now from 159 to a total number of 222. What interests us here is, you hear carefully, now is 222. Sarawak from 24, now we have 31. More in numbers, there is an increase, right? But in terms of percentage, you are down to 14%. Used to be 15, now you're down to 14. Although the absolute numbers increase, because the absolute number or total number of MP has also increased proportionally. MP for Malaya used to be 104, now is 166. Bracket is 75%. Right? These are our facts. This is what we all agree. Our Parliament agreed. Sarawak Parliament also, our people also agree. That's the facts. Whether you like it or not, our leaders agree to it. And that is a part of the agreement when we join. So who to blame? Right? I mean, that is the agreement entered because after the lapse of 7 years, the power to re-alienate, the power to change the quota is up to Election Commission and approved by Parliament. That is the result. Now, West Malaya with 75%, you know, what is 2/3? You do calculation? 67% is 2/3. No, 67% is 1/3. So in other words, they can easily, they go already 75%. So if you are talking about territorial interest, fight over territorial interest, we call it parochial feeling will come in. So this is the uphill task. Just pre-warn all of us. Yeah, people talk about federation. Do you ever think about get out also big problems? There's another concept. We call it confederation. You know what I mean? Confederation. You have 3 parliaments. You have 3 regions, or you call it small nation, whatever term you call it. Then you have a confederation. That's what happened to Soviet Union before it broke down. Confederation. Okay? That's all.
Thank you. Yeah, Mr. Chong. After Mr. Chong, yourself, then you, and then you, huh? Okay. Yes.
The forum today, Tuan Zainal is spending his time and effort bringing up our awareness as voters. We, the voters, in a democratic system, put the representative that the majority voters want in the government, whether it be the state level, the DUN, or the parliamentary level. So it boils down to the essence of Tuan Zainal. Unfortunately, he went out, spending his time and effort bringing up our awareness so that we can vote for the majority voter wants and put the majority wanted representative in the government.
Yeah, thank you. Your question is?
It's not a question, it's a
Oh,
comment.
your next question.
So when the Kosovo case was brought up, Kosovo is a different case. Bloodshed was involved. Innocent people was born before it was settled. Singapore exit Malaysia, no bloodshed was involved. And let Sarawak be second, let Sabah be third. Tuan Zainal will be happy, that's what he wants. So, no bloodshed involved, we do it the democratic way. We put the right person in the government for the next 5 years, and we do it without bloodshed democratically. Thank you, Tuan Zainal.
Thank you. He was mentioning about yourself. Coming over here, helping us to have more awareness. Now, yes, no, not you. The one at the back first, and after that will be you. Thank you, yes. Yeah, man, yes. The one in pink. You would like to speak just now? Yes. Can I have the mic, please? Thank you. Okay, Regina, after that, after the gentleman will be you, huh? Thank you. Yes. Oh, yeah, okay. Thank you. Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
my name is Sept. Is there any more news about Petros, and how is it going to take over Petronas? And what will happen to Petronas, including the Sarawakian employees, after Petros has successfully taken over?
Thank you for the question. I do not know the working of Petros yet. I only know that they have the board of directors, and also that they have the MD being appointed and the most senior people already appointed. As to the exact working, I would not know, but I would like also to have another forum inviting Petros people to come in and share with us in Miri, because like I say, Miri our own town. Yeah? Thank you very much. I'm sorry that I could not answer your question in detail because I do not know, so I cannot. Yes.
Can I have 2 minutes? Those who read the newspapers today, yesterday, a few of us went to Petronas and we submitted a memorandum of demands. So I'll just briefly say what our demands are. Alright? Okay. Demand number 1, that the government of Sarawak has with effect from 1st July 2018 enforce the laws stipulated under OMO on all upstream and downstream operations, that the requirement for procurement of licenses and leases to enable legal operation must be complied with immediately. Okay. Number 2, that Petros is the company wholly owned by the Sarawak government, entrusted to manage, govern and execute all dealings, licensing, leasing and enforcement of OMO, who shall determine all future prospects and operations of any mining areas for new and expiring ones. including PSC MLNG1, okay, which is operated by Shell, which is due to expire in 2020, we ask that it be handed over to Petros. Okay. Number 3, that Petronas shall refrain from and cease to award any new prospecting areas, concessionary blocks, and new PSCs with immediate effect. This right and function is governed by OMO under the direct authority of Petros. Okay. Then 4 and 5, we ask for an integrated petroleum complex in Bintulu, not in Malaya. Okay, and also to have a petroleum university in Sarawak and not in Malaya. So briefly, that is what our letter to Petronas is.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Yang Berhormat Sebastian, ladies and gentlemen. Lina, I'm from the Longhouse, from the kampong. I like very much for to get that 1 million as soon as possible, because we in the kampongs, we need that very much. We are the poorer people, live farther from the city, so we want that to happen as soon as possible. My question is, in fact, I agree. When I listened to Datuk David, I was, I was confused before, and I don't know anything about this before. But when he mentioned about the background, the history of Malaysia, I get, oh, that's good. When YB Datuk Idris said again, the giant is now awakened, we must go for it. All the more, I like it. When Miss Lina Soo said again, with all her the facts that she mentioned, I was even more convinced. So this is going to be it. However, when Tuan Zainal said about all the cautions, the breaches, everything, then again I question myself, are we going to go for it? David, I agree with the referendum. I like that referendum. We have to make that third firewall. I agree with that very much. And I agree with your suggestion also to bring it to the Dun. And Dun has to do something about it. I don't know what is that. You're talking about law in that just now, but I agree with that also. However, declaration to God, right? Okay, then my question now, if we have to go for it in court, Tuan Zainal, would you give all those breaches that you have found out for free to Sarawakians?
Thank you. Yes, that's your question.
Thank you.
I thought you already mentioned yes, he would, isn't it?
But for how much?
No, in actual fact, that's part and parcel of our activities in Sabah. This is not mine alone. It is a group of us who actually study this, work it out, even went to London, go and get new papers, talk to people. So it's not my effort, but the group have already decided. We have mineral ordinance, not OMO, but mineral ordinance. So we have decided that if anybody was serious to bring this case up to London, we give.
OMO was a result of our, the team sent by our Chief Minister to London. That's why we came up with this giant, awakening, OMO. So actually, there's some benefit from that trip.
So this is what we have done, and we are willing to provide as long as you are doing it seriously. Don't do it for political reason. I have to be very upfront. If you are doing it for political reason, forget about it. We are not going to do it.
Thank you. Sorry, Yola. There are two more questions before you reply on this one, because the question was specifically to Zainal. Yes, please.
Hello. My name is Ngerong from Ulu Baram. All right. I agree with Datuk David Teng to put in the third firewall should the parliamentary sitting is in favor of Malaya, we are defeated. Because, you see here, the number of parliamentary seats in Malaya is more than the Borneo state of Sabah and Sarawak. It was primarily designed to easily defeat the number of votes from the two Borneo states of Sabah and Sarawak. You go to parliament, you are going to be knocked out, man. True, because they have reached, I think, up to 50 times. Who is there to talk to them and to, hey, you are doing the wrong thing? Because they are big numbers, they easily can kick you sideways. How can you fight an American football game in a football game? So you kalah because of the height, because of the number. So you are entering a football game, you tie my leg, and then you ask me to fight. This is the real case. So I don't think it is wise to go to parliament because they have reached up to 50 times. And then what is there for us to go and continue to put our neck and get slaughtered again? Yes. So I request for the GPS government to act immediately. Don't wait. Alright? Okay. You have done your diplomacy. You want to take legal action. So if go for legal action, I think it's also on a losing point. Because over there, if you put up a lawyer, mostly from Malaya, and then Sarawak will be losing. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Doc. You are not, it's not a question, it's a request for GPS people to act upon, correct? Thank you. Yes. Yes, check. Yeah, because Johnny has already, after him, then Regina. Yeah, the one at the back first, Regina, because he has been asking. Yes, thank you.
Good evening, sir. My name is Zainal Ajamain Buang. I got the same father name with Datuk Idris. Anyways, people ask me, I said he's my brother. Excuse me. Let's go to the question here. I have a question for Datuk David. He was talking like we have this golden opportunity because Tun Mahathir said at Padang Merdeka on 16 of September, Padang Merdeka Sabah, that he will give back our Sarawak rights in Article 1 about the equal partnership instead of just a 12 and 13 state in Malaysia. But on the 16th he said that, on the 17th he said in an article I read, he said, we need 2/3 majority in parliament to give you back your Sarawak rights. And then the problem is 2/3 majority, Pakatan they were broken apart. PKR are divided into two, so they don't have the 2/3 majority anymore. So now they are waiting for a new possibility to get a 2/3 majority, which Anwar is trying to fix right now. Okay, so I don't know if that will materialize looking at all these changes. Like, it was so easy yesterday on 16 September, Malaysia Day, and the next day it's changed. Like the manifesto, you know? It's not a holy book, he said. You know? So, I mean, excuse me, one more question. So, to correct like what Dr. David said earlier, there is no clause in the agreement, MA63, IGC, there is no clause that Sarawak or one of the Borneo states can exceed the Malaysian agreement, the federation. And then I want to quote also when I read the Queen's obligation. There's Lord Lansdowne, he said that it doesn't have to be included in the agreement. The clause doesn't have to be included in the agreement. Because he said, it is understood when there's any state entering a federation, they have their intrinsic rights to for secession at will. Just that, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Your question is?
My question was, what can we do about this recent, what they call changes?
Yeah, correct. I agree with you. The moment you enter the toilet, you have the right to enter, you have the right to get out of the toilet.
Two-thirds majority will be most likely. You have Pakatan 1 through 5 MP. Plus GPS Sarawak, number 19. Right? Plus UMNO, if they are smart enough. Pass, maybe. So you get through. So in practical terms, right? If Mahathir doesn't want to move the motion, we'll move the motion. Put all the MP on test. Make sure that it's voting by records, by ballot, email. Are you? So they will be done. Okay.
Yeah, Datuk David said so. If we fail in Parliament, we go for the declaration also. Yeah, to the courts. Yeah. We have that power wall. Yeah.
Thank you, Regina. Plus another one. Any more? We are now 2 more there. Okay, because we already exceeded 5:30. Okay, 2 more. Yes, Regina. Yes, thank you.
Yes, hello, Datuk. Just earlier on, you were saying that Petros was formed in July last year, right?
This year.
Oh, this year. Okay.
The OMO was passed this year.
Okay. My question is not on oil. My question is about the travel agents in Miri. Now, all this while, this travel agent has been doing Petronas Kali-Kali travel business all this while. But about 2 years ago, Petronas, they changed, they gave all the travel business all to KL. The KL travel agent is called Holiday Tour, and it was owned by Rosma, we understand. Yeah, correct. So all the travel agents now suffered. None of them can get Petronas business here. Even the stationery also they have to get from Kuala Lumpur. So what happened now? What happened to Miri travel agents and the stationery business?
Your question is?
No, we are suffering.
Okay, your question is a comment, is it?
No, my question is,
what can we do?
yes, because
travel agency, yeah?
yes,
Okay, we
because
have Petronas.
because I understand that they do approach Miss Lee Kim Sin, and he has done nothing about it.
Thank you. Yes. I'll get your question. I'm not in a position to answer. Let me find out as to what happened. Then I'll get back to you. Yeah. Okay, Regina.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then the one at the back. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Last one. No, 2 more. The 2 more. And 3, 4. Yeah. Injury time. Really injury time. So okay. 4. No more. Please. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, my name is Yo.
Yo, yes.
Okay, my question is about the firewall, about referendum ordinance in our Dun. All right. So let us not forget. In 2017, somebody actually is the C.G. Hao. He did table a motion in our Dun for the referendum ordinance, and it was rejected. 9 to 58. I understand that the next June would be sometimes in November. Am I correct? Okay, all right. So the next June is November. So we have 2 MPs on the stage. Datuk is one of the June member, is it? And Datuk Idris also the June members. So do you think this time we will table again the referendum ordinance in June? This is my question.
Your question is whether or not this referendum
bill will be tabled or not. You are also suggesting that we have two of us here to proceed with that, is it?
Right, exactly.
Thank you. Thank you for your question.
Okay,
now, for me, for myself, I am also in. Big things we need to get people of Sarawak to do a referendum. Probably you know me. I'm active in this. Yeah? Yeah. Question here is whether or not you'll be tabled this November. I cannot promise you. We will work on it. We hope one day we reach there. That's for myself. Yeah? Thank you.
Gentlemen, for that particular motion, it was rejected. Not just per se, it was a motion for referendum, but there was certain other technicalities involved. I think there was certain justification put out which did not meet certain criteria, whatever it is. But anyway, the timing for that referendum was not right at that time. Maybe in the future, and it depends on what type of justification that meets the criteria, yeah, for a motion to be tabled in the first place before it can be put for debate. From there on, you can see if there is a joint, yeah, sort of motion. There's another thing. Probably it may have to wait for, you know, certain people to draft a proper one.
Yeah, we should be able to overcome because
yeah, no, but it's still
over 500 words and did not go through, did not consult the finance ministry of Sarawak.
Yeah.
This is the two major reasons that we rejected.
I think one is about the financial consent from the Minister of Finance, yeah. One of them.
If we have the will
yeah.
to get this the firewall, they should be able to make it pass. But I don't see this is a very important.
Well, for us, for me, I'll keep it open in the sense that, of course, I'll support. Generally, I'll support what I call that firewall, whatever we call it. Yeah, as long as Sarawak gets what it should have.
Sarawak is for Sarawakian.
Right.
Can I just have one question? Okay. A referendum will be conducted by the Election Commission, which is federal. Should not this be, a law proposed in Parliament? That's my question.
If it is a referendum, of course, yeah. If it is to the Parliament, you have enough. Yes.
Again, I think it need to be very precise. We are more concerned about the Parliament. Here it says, no amendments shall be made to the Constitution without the concurrence of Yang Datuk Idris Buang, that means the State Cabinet. Without two-thirds majority and without the consent. So actually, the most easiest and simplest way will be add one clause into the present constitutional clause. Says that add in another plus. Consent from people of Sarawak by way of holding a referendum. Less than 10 words. Very simple. It's a question of political will, whether you want to do it. Just make a simple constitutional slight amendment. Yeah. You may not even need to go to the stone because it is a further power to grant the rights of holding a referendum. But here we just want to make sure that don't frighten the federal people. So this referendum must be very clear for specific purposes. Right? Don't. Otherwise, I think all the time people are thinking about the words. You and me understand.
My comment is, this is a matter, for Parliament to enact. A referendum is a national matter. It will be conducted by the Election Commission, which is federal. So can you ask the PH government to enact a referendum law for Malaysia?
Thank you. Now, yes, Thomas. Yes, no, the one.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
So my name is Vincent,
Vincent,
and
yes.
I'm just now mention about Sarawak is not ready. Maybe the people we work for is not ready. That's why all this while our road is tattered. We only have one road from Cebu to Kapit, and that one is on a rainy day. It will be quite tattered and impassable. All this while we process all the money from Petronas, but they do not show us what they earn, right? So the money has been flowed to them without our government to know about it, and then we don't know how much we can get from them to pay our own infrastructure in Sarawak. I want to know, is our leader, the people we work for, ready to change Sarawak? I'm speaking on behalf of all the Orang Ulus. They have tattered roads, medical impaired. I feel very saddened. Why this thing happened? We got oil, we got gas, but we got timber, but we got nothing.
Yeah, we got it. The thing is, this is what we are fighting for now.
Now, what is the deadline? We don't talk about in 5 years' time. No. We talk about the people now. Why now? Where are you going to give us? Is our people ready or not? Are you ready or not, my Sarakians? We are ready, but the people we work for are not. That is the problem. 55 years already we waiting for this. We got nothing. What we have? Are we so proud? Do you know that our IBAN riggers are very famous in offshore? IBAN riggers, Saksi 7. They mention the riggers. They don't mention any other riggers. They mention IBAN riggers. Because they are very professional. But then, what we got? We got nothing. We are famous for everything, but we got nothing. What you can give us? I don't want to hear in 5 years' time or what.
Can I just answer the question one sentence? If the government you vote for is not ready, then vote for the government that is ready.
Thank you. Thank you.
Macam soalan Abu Nawas.
Thank you. Yes. Yes, Thomas.
Our Sabah and Sarawak, we have 56 MP. Yeah? Now, our MA63 is eroded. Do this MP can renovate or not? What is your comments? $56 MP we have.
Okay. Yeah. Your 56 MP represent less than 25% of parliament. Less than 25 parliament, you need 33% to have veto power. So 25, there is nothing you can do. That's the problem. Alright? Now, in terms of increasing the number of MPs, the central government doesn't want to increase your number. Because the minute you increase, you threaten their position. Alright? I will put it this way. They try to say they can pass a law in Parliament, but that law, according to the Malaysia Agreement, will require the approval of the DUN. But they say that passed by Parliament, your MP sitting down there, it's passed. Actually, it's not. They bluff, and we accept it. Now, the thing here is this. If they want our MP from Sabah and Sarawak also to represent the 2/3 of our assembly, then what they need to do is to increase our number of MP equivalent to the number of 2/3 in our DUN. You understand what I'm saying? So meaning to say, your ADUN is also your MP. Okay, take for example, Sabah have got 60 ADUN. 2/3 of 60 ADUN is actually 40 seats. Sabah right now have only got 25 MP. Meaning to say, they need to increase that 25 by 15 to make it 40. Then, if these 40, okay, vote for any law that is passed in Parliament, then that law is automatically passed because your DUN 2/3 is already in Parliament. Similarly, in Sarawak, you have to do that. But to increase the number from 25 to 40 in Sarawak, I think 2/3 is about what, 50 something, 56. So that means total Sabah and Sarawak now nearly 90. 40 plus 56. So it's about 96. 96 can threaten their 222. No way they're going to approve. No way. That's why I said just now, look at the reality. Do you want to go through Parliament to fight? Or do you want to go through court, but not local court, London court?
London court lah, we should.
Later go to London court. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And it has been a wonderful afternoon from 1:30 until now. For those who are still with us, thank you so much, very much indeed. And this is a wonderful sharing. And we hope to continue. Things we are not able to answer, forgive us, because I cannot tell you that I know everything. I do not know. If I tell you I know everything, I'll be the first you say you are a liar. Because I can't tell you that I know everything, and neither do us. Yeah, but it's a sharing that we continue to share this, so that more people come to know MA63, what we are in for. OMO, yeah. For those who continue to stay here, thank you so much. Also, those who were here earlier, I say thank you also because we overrun our time for almost 45 minutes. Yeah. So thank you so much, and we will be contacting you again when we have the next one. But of course, next month we are going to conduct the Chinese one because all these years since 2015, November 22nd, we have started with Zainal here. Kuching, Sibu, like say Kuching, Sibu, Pintulu, and conducted in English and also one time in Bahasa, Malaysia. But the next one in October, we are going to start one in Chinese. And before that, I would like to present books to say thank you to 4 speakers. Can you join me to give them a round of applause, please? Thank you. And
after the presentation of the mementos, please stay back. They will come down and stand with you, and there will be a group photo taken with all of you with them. Okay, please stay back for the group photo. Thank you.
One for the album. Thank you.
Can I have Dr. Faizul Mansoor to be on stage?